working. And then when the overlays worked, my mic didn't work. And I was just sitting here, was ready to punch something, So we should be good. And I'm going to get Killer B in here. Killer B is probably waiting. Killer B is, he's around. I'm looking forward to co-casting the first set of games with him today.
Hey man, how you doing?
Yo, what's up? We need a testing 1, 2, 3 for the audience here. If you could do that for me.
All right, testing 1, 2, 3. It's Killer B. I'm here with T90. Hopefully you guys are having a good day. How do we sound?
On the levels on OBS say it's pretty good. I think we're good. Chat will let us know. Lots of hype in the chat for this. I think it's good. Perfect.
Wonderful. Let's do this, man. I'm excited. I know your pain of setting everything up today. So good on you for getting it all done. It's not easy, man. Good work.
Thank you. Yeah, I was going to save my coffee for a few hours into the stream. And after I started setting up everything, I was like, screw it. I need the coffee now. I need something.
Welcome to every day of my life. That's how I feel every single day.
Yeah, try and hold off, but nope.
Yeah, man. Wonderful. So, guys, I guess we're probably getting close to the end of the countdown. I guess we're starting off here with Frantic and SY, T90?
Yes. Okay, so we have a 3v3 between Frantic and SY. With me, I have Killer B AOC. And I'm going to start with the SY players. The Frantic players. Introduce the Frantic players, and I'll let you take it away with SY, Killer B.
Wonderful.
All right, so for Frantic, we have Vivi, known as Really DL, and a bunch of other usernames. He's the flank for his team, playing as the Indians in the red. His pocket then is CL, otherwise known as Happy Happy. Happy Happy is playing as the Berbers. And then the other flank is Tim, and Tim is playing as the Ethiopians.
Yeah, and on the other side of things, we'll get a shot at redemption. I'll start off with the green player, who is Jeffrey. I remember last time you and I cast together T90, people were kind of triggered by our use of Joffrey. But hey, we're just a couple of silly Americans, right? So that's the way
it is.
So Jeffrey here, we'll probably call him Joffrey once or twice for old time's sakes, is going to be playing as the Malians in the green. He's going to be on the flank opposite of Vivi's Indians, so keep that in mind. On the pocket on that team is going to be Mr. Yo as the Ethiopians in the teal. And on the other flank will be the blue player Lix playing as the Mongols. T90, pretty open map. Sometimes we get a little bit of craziness here. Which of these civs do you like better in this situation?
Well, I need to think about this. I know Indians on the flank can be really tough at times. So looking at Vivi, for example, Indians, they excel with camels, and normally your flanks will be going for ranged units. So I'll be curious to see what he'll go for. Whereas he's versus... Are we saying Jeffrey today? Is that what it is? We're not saying Joffrey? Maybe I say Jeffrey, you say Joffrey, and we just appeal to everybody. I don't know,
potato.
Yeah, whoever it is, he's Malians, and while Malians they have strong knight and camel options as well, they could, I think, justify going for ranged units a little bit more. Ethiopians pocket for Yo, I mean, that could be questionable as well, because Ethiopians might be a civilization where you go archers. I think it's going to be hard to say. Killer B, we're getting the swing of things here, so maybe we'll wait and see what the players choose and go from there.
Yeah, I think we're going to see an interesting game. I don't think that all of the best possible civs have been chosen here in Game 1, but that's because it's a longer series and you need to save some of the civs. So this makes sense. We'll see who can make the most out of what they got. Just looking quickly around the map at the Mongols players to see how they are doing on food. For instance, if we look at Lix, we can see he may be ready to go up at a relatively early time. He's the only Mongols player in this match, pushing in Zebra as we speak to get that little earlier food boost going. As we said, he'll be against Tim as the Ethiopians, so that's a civ that can also have a little bit of a boost in the early game with that extra resource as you hit the feudal age. So that flank could be hot and heavy here early on. Can't wait to see that. And yeah, just to follow up on your comment on the Indians, I think the Indians, of course, I would have rather seen them in the pocket in most situations, but I think here it can be okay on the flank, and can't wait to see as this game heats up.
Yeah, for sure. I guess Malians and Indians can be somewhat questionable on the flank, so we'll find out soon enough. This map is a very open map, so it wouldn't surprise me to see players open with something like Man-at-Arms. Tim on the flank for Frantic. He could go for Man-at-Arms normally, but I think because he's versus Mongols and they'll have such a fast uptime, he might not even choose to do that. Lix is already on the way to Feudal Age. Likely going to be scouts from him, but I mean, he's gone up on 17 pop Kirby. He could still try archers, but probably something like scouts.
Yeah, I think you're right, probably in that situation. And yeah, I'm just keeping an eye on the pockets. Obviously, guys, we got 3v3 action here. It is the Africa stage of the ECL. This is game number 1 of the day today. And of course, it's game number 1 of this series. These guys are playing a best of 5, and it's Killer B and T90. And we've got all the issues worked out, and we got all the sound working perfectly. And I'm pretty hyped to be here, man. Lix is just about to hit the Feudal Age, and we're about to kick this game into gear.
Yeah, so scout opening for Lix, that is my assumption here. So all eyes on him to start off Feudal Age. And then how will Tim be able to hold from that early attack? Well, he's walled up a little bit. You see this pond. That's really helped him. So he's walled up there. He can push everything else towards his town centers. A few exposed areas like his woodlines and his berries. But everything's close to his TC, so he might be okay from any incoming scout attack.
Yeah, I think he might be all right as well, but I guess we'll see in a moment. Notably, CL has clicked to Feudal. That's not too surprising to me, and so has Yo. So both pocket players going up at an early time. This is pretty common in 3v3, but it is worth noting that we're going to see maybe some units, some early units from both sides from the pocket.
I like Berbers' pocket better than I like Ethiopians' pocket. But then again, I like Yo's pocket more than I do CL's pocket because Yo is a fantastic pocket player. So a lot of possibilities here. I can't appreciate the fact that we don't have mirror civs on each side. So there's different strategies that will have to be implemented and different strengths at different times.
Yeah, absolutely. And like we alluded to earlier, this is a long series, so you gotta use your civs strategically. So we'll see how it goes. Feudal Age starts to roll in for players. I'm noticing those first couple of scouts coming out from the blue player Lix, but as you said, they are mostly walled out of doing any quick damage, at least as far as I can see. They will push toward Tim's base, but Tim, of course, is now in the Feudal Age as well, and Tim is probably going to be able to hold off here. He's going to drop an archer range and get a spearman out. No team wall in this game, T90. It's a little bit too far of a stretch for players to try to get a team wall early on this map. So we will see a lot of team play, a lot of activity moving around the map.
And that's saying something because we have two of the biggest walling teams playing. If they can't team wall, then you know it's not possible. At the moment, SY, they have this really strong window of opportunity because Lix hit Feudal Age so quickly. He has 4 scouts already. And Lix realizes he can't do damage to Tim, and so he's going now towards the pocket. And I have to say, CL's done a great job to protect himself from any incoming attack. His barriers are vulnerable, but his wood has been walled up. And I'm liking how they've dealt with this early threat.
Yeah, and one thing that's going to be really nice for that Frantic team, both teams have 2 players going scouts and 1 player going archers, but the big difference is that the teal player is going archers from the pocket for SY.
Yep.
And that is, of course, a slow unit. When you decide to go somewhere with archers, you're kind of committing because you're going to be there in a couple minutes of game time. So Tim is going to have issues with mobility from the pocket on his side, and his teammates could suffer a little bit. In the opposite side, we'll see the Berbers player with a stable down and some scouts presumably able to go wherever his teammates are much more quickly.
0 kills, 0 deaths so far, and as I say that, wow, Lix, he goes underneath the TC to snipe a weak Vil off the farm, or maybe that was just a mistake, I'm not sure. And he loses his scout, so curse the commentator. Oh my god, Lix, what are you doing? What are you doing, Lix? I gotta stop talking. Lix is doing fine, he's doing fine. I don't wanna jinx him again. He keeps running towards that TC, he's like a gravitational pull or something. It's a
weird moment for him because he's trying to defend against CL, who has a couple scouts near his base, and I think he might have just lost a little unit control there and lost 1 scout, lost a bunch of HP T90, and he's built a lot of scouts, but he doesn't have a scary army, and that could really hurt his team a bit. Yeah,
so I think now he might try and whittle down the numbers from CL. You see this one group chasing CL, and then the other group retreating, but that's 1 scout lost, and the 3 other ones are very weak. However, he could make up for it here, and yeah, he just gets a few hits. Not the end of the world.
Yeah, and in the meantime, it's a very Lick-centric cast because he's going to have units walking into his base. The archers and spears from Tim are
Mm.
rolling in through some holes in the wall. It's probably not going to damage him immensely, but it's going to be pretty annoying to have these units in his base.
Yeah, what's interesting is you talked about commitment earlier, and when you send your military towards one direction, if you end up having to double back, that's wasted time. And with scouts, you can make it back, and he makes it back. So this is a defensive play from him. I don't think this is too bad for Frantic to have all of Lix's scouts back at his base. And look at the engagement from Tim. This is amazing.
Yeah, Tim is killing so many scouts. I thought for sure Lix would overwhelm that army, and he kind of has cleaned it up, but at the cost of 6 scouts, I believe,
Yep.
7 scouts. So it's just not been a good day for Lix to start off here. His teammates, in the meanwhile, I've been keeping an eye on them. They're not doing so hot either. Yellow's been slow to get out of his base, and the green player Jeffrey is getting harassed as well. So this is a tough match right now.
Yeah, strong start in game 1 from Frantic. And these teams are so familiar with each other. 2 very strong Chinese teams. Vivi used to be on SY, so they have played with each other many times. And wow, I'm just wondering now, like, if Mr. Yo had a fast mobile unit from Pocket, he could maybe help his team get back into this, but he has archers. He's on the left, Killer Bee. This is a good start.
It's a very good start, but anything could happen as the game goes on. Of course, Frantic needs to take the little advantage that they've gotten and try to make it into a bigger advantage as the game goes on. That could mean going up a little sooner and trying to get a tech advantage. It could mean going for an army right here, right now. Notably, SY is not giving up the ghost yet. They are trying to push in on the yellow player Tim. There's actually Yo and his teammate Lix are there together. Granted, it's an attenuated Lix, and he's still going for bloodlines here. But he's going to be there with his teammate, and they need to land some damage because they're falling a little bit behind.
Well, they did just land a huge blow to Tim. Tim, after that good engagement, thought he could run forward again, and he got his whole army wiped up. And now Lix and Yo can run to CL, and CL has built a few towers, which I really like. Collecting some stone so he can build more, in fact. Tower on the gold, tower on the wood, because he knows he's about to be doubled, and he needs to wait for his knights as he is on the way to Castle Age.
Yeah, Castle Age is coming for 3 of the players already that I see, and those players have double stables down. So we'll see double stables and a blacksmith from the red player, double stables from purple, and double stables from Jeffrey in the green. By now, you are probably seeing those units starting to arrive near CL's base, but he seems to be holding there somewhat well, although here comes Jeffrey as well with a couple scouts, so it's 3v1 in the pocket.
Yeah, I mean, thank God that he has Berber villagers, because he would have lost a few there. He was forced to leave that wood line early because he knew the archers were coming from Yo. He's done quite a good job to not take losses there. It's still an awkward situation for him. And man, have SY pushed back. We questioned the archer move from Yo. Like, how would that play out? But look at his KD. 15 kills and 4 deaths. And he's halfway to Castle Age himself.
Yeah, and in the meantime, Yo does have a second army building up at home, which he's using to defend. He does not seem to be taking any damage in that pocket, so all eyes right now are on the purple player CL. CL is going to hit the Castle Age in just a moment and have double stables. We'll have the resources for double stable knight production for a little while to come, but may have trouble slowly peeling this army away from his base. It actually looks like those armies will peel themselves away and head toward the red player Vivi.
Yeah, they need to run now, and it's awkward because while in Feudal Age the lack of mobility for Yo's archers was an issue, it's even worse now because there's knights chasing him, and so he'll wait for his upgrades and hopefully get some value out of these units. But both Vivi in the red and CL in the purple could clean up that army with either camels or with knights, so he needs to keep that alive for now. This is a close game. I'm props to SY for taking the lead here. They were behind in the early stages, I would say, after Lix fell behind, but they're doing good now.
Yeah, they really committed. They liked the idea of hitting the purple player, and if they like it, they had to put a ring on it. And well, they went for it. Sorry, I don't know what that even means. But
I think that comment is appealing to the wrong audience, but there might be a few people who get that reference.
As it stands, we will see SY landing some good damage, but of course the double stable camels from Vivi are starting to come out, and of course he should not be in too much trouble with his third TC coming down to defend against a minor 2v1 on the corner of the map. However, it's a little awkward, so we'll keep an eye on that fight. In the meantime, we have seen Vivi and his teammate Tim pushing in up on the left of the map inside of the blue base.
Wow, this is happening so fast, man. Crazy stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, Tim yet again gets in here. He's landing a nice blow. This is before Castle Age. So he kills quite a few villagers. That's, I think, 6 dead bodies, 7 dead bodies in villagers for Licks. So yet again, Licks falling behind. And yet again, Tim doing damage when you didn't expect it, right? And that's going to, I believe, give Frantic the lead in this game after Yo lost his army. And Tim is able to kill that many villagers. But, oh, look at Yo moving in on Tim's wood line, Killer B.
Oh, man, I actually missed that, but it is coming in. There's a group of crossbows there, +2/+1, and here we go, man.
Oh, God, he hasn't noticed either. And these are Ethiopian crossbows. They fire so fast, and just like that, Mr. Yo, yet again, incredible timing. Amazing KD for him. He's always in the right place at the right time. And Tim, after taking a lead, loses that lead. And I think SY are now in a strong position, at least on that left-hand side.
Yeah, SY choosing the right moments so far this game to make their pushes, and they're keeping themselves in a nice competitive place. We'll see Yo's pocket on about 45 villagers at this point in the game, and we've got CL on about 50, so neither pocket is really booming away. We do, however, have an Indians player on the flank in the red who's up on 56, and so is Jeffrey playing as the Malians. So those two flank players are really booming up a bit, and both of them are building camels, and they are kind of locked in a bit of a stalemate there for now. So that flank could be a little boomy. It could be a little higher tech than the other flank, a little quicker. But there is going to be action T90 on that left side. I mean, Tim's base is going to be contested for a while now.
Yeah, that's a lot of knights from CL, and I just wonder if CL can bring this back for his team now. Yo's micro, really well done there. He micros down all of Tim's crossbows, but there's just so many knights for CL. I guess Yo's doing an exceptional job to hide between the trees here, but it does seem like, at least for now, they might be able to hold this, Frantic.
Yeah, I think that CL, of course, can't really use those knights on Jeffrey's side. As a pocket, you want to distribute your army where it can do the most damage.
Yep.
The pocket is probably not going to be easy to hit because Yo is usually sitting there with about 20 crossbows. So we'll see if those units can get busy, but they have cleaned up the aggression near Tim's base. And we'll see Tim adding in another TC, trying to get things going. 3 archery ranges down for him. Who's winning right now, T90? The scores say it's close, but who do you like better here?
I'm a big fan of army momentum, right? Keeping your numbers alive. And I'm a big fan of mobility, too. And I still keep thinking back to the fact that Yo he's fighting with a very slow composition. So I like the fact that Yo has 60 villagers. I like the fact that Jeffrey has 71. But then you have 74 from Vivi and 63 from CL on the other side. And they're going with those more mobile units. It's tough. I would say if Yo is going to take advantage of his boom here, if he's going to utilize his civilization, he needs to keep his numbers alive and get to Imperial Age and just snowball it, right? Have one big army of crossbows that his opponents are forced to fight.
Yeah, I think it's a really dead heat of a game. That's why I asked you, because I couldn't solve the riddle myself. And I think we're really lucky to start the day off like this. We're at minute 30. We've got a game that's hotly contested, and hopefully we'll see these units shift to Imperial units soon. We'll see the strategy ramped up even another level. However, those purple knights, T90, CL's knights, arriving into Yo's base. Yo's got 25 military, but not much of it is here. He made that commitment to walk across the map, and now back at home, he's getting raided pretty hard.
Yep, and this is where the game can swing because Yo is forward. He's not doing too much damage against any of his opponents, and he's getting hit. So he had a vill lead. Now he's down to 62 villagers, so he's about 20 behind some of the Frantic players. And I think Purple will be okay with losing that number of knights, just to idle Yo's economy like that, kill Yo's crossbows like that. That's exactly what I was pointing out. I'm saying, sure, the score says that SY's in the lead, but I think the compositions are much, much better for Frantic, and we might even see a big fight on the right now that SY could lose.
Yeah, the SY team is pushing in on the right side and keeping things pretty interesting there. Climbing up the hill is the red player, Vivi. Vivi is going to take this fight. I don't know if he's ready for this fight, but he's going to go for it.
Yeah, he felt rushed, it seemed. I mean, he's fighting uphill. Yo's micro was again good, and Jeffrey had enough camels there to accompany him. So this is what Yo needs now. He just received losses at home. He needs to push, and he's doing that. Just wonder if CL will arrive, and he is, to help Vivi. Wow, we even have Licks here for SY. So we have a 3v1 versus the Fat Dragon. Really interesting stuff.
Yeah, this is two times in a row. We saw this early in the game in Feudal Age. We saw 3v1 inside of CL's base, and now we're going to see potentially 3v1 inside of Vivi's base. Vivi playing in the red as really Diao is going to be going Imp from the TC that's not closest to this push, so don't get too freaked out about his Imp TC going down. But do get freaked out about his army being dead when he arrives at Imp, because those camels are dropping like flies.
Well, I mean, the fight was quite good because Tim arrives to help, and Yo was not accompanied by any of his allies' knights. And that's exactly what Frantic needed, actually, Killer B. Yo out of position, or I'm not entirely sure, just the communication wasn't there for SY. So these camels will stay alive, and Frantic, they're going to have an Indian Imperial player. That's really good stuff for them, and we even have CL on the way to the Imperial Age, so we have 2 of the Frantic players that will be in Imperial Age before 2 of the SY players.
Yeah, the camel number has dropped a bit, but we are seeing more stables being added in from the red players, so we will see more camels coming out quickly. We do have Jeffrey, not Joffrey.
I'm gonna mix it up all day just to annoy people. I'm gonna do 50-50, so
we can only pray that he gets subbed out for the next game.
Yep.
He's got camels as well, and he's got quite a lot of them. 26 also. He's on the way to Imp, but of course, Vivi's already there, and Vivi's already on the way to Heavy Camel. So that flank could be in favor of the red player, even after a little 3v1 action, but we'll keep an eye on it.
Yeah, I think there's a few things now for SY. Back to Lix here for a moment, who we haven't talked about. He's about to build a castle, I assume. Actually, we should... I can't touch on it too much because there's so much fighting, but the point is it's really difficult for Mongols to get rolling in the Imperial Age. So Lix really needs some time here, but Yo's going to give him some time. Arriving with his crossbows on the left, cleaning up Tim's crossbows. I mean, how many times have we said that today? Yeah, there's just a lot of elements to this Killer B, as Vivi's now getting Heavy Camel, and he has so much tankiness to these guys. He's raiding the economy from Joffrey or Jeffrey, but might not be enough. He might be able to hold there.
No matter how you want to say that name, it is a little bit of raiding and a Heavy Camel upgrade in now for Vivi. Vivi's on 31 military, still pumping out camels like they're going out of style. He will need a little bit more time and a little more resource if he's going to keep going down the camel line. But hey, how about this, T90? CL arrives inside of the blue base from Lix. Lix doesn't have a lot inside of his base to defend here. He's taking some damage.
He's taking some damage. He could lose a TC after already losing a dozen villagers. He's on the way back with some knights. And Yo's on the way back with some crossbows, but these are about to be Cavalier with +4. I think that Blue could even consider taking this fight, just continuing to stay here, and send in another wave, and that's exactly what he's going for, Killer B. We have another wave in the center that's going to arrive here.
Yeah, and it does look like Vivi has decided, no need to push Jeffrey. I've got him kind of pushed back a little eco-wise. I'm going to send my Heavy Camels over.
Yeah.
Those Heavy Camels look like they're coming to add insult to injury to the blue player's base.
Yeah, this is just a huge power spikes when the Imperial Age came in, right? And I think that Frantic could be taking this game now because they need Lix in this game. They need Yo in this game. Yo's population is not healthy. He's about to lose crossbows, or arbalest rather. And Lix is going to lose more TCs and more villagers. They just can't stop this flood of Berber knights and Indian camels.
Yeah, and behind that flood, there's going to be a sustained push from Tim. So Tim is getting a little help from his friends right now. His flank is getting weakened. Lix is going to have some trouble holding, but Lix will eventually hold that side, I would imagine. But Tim is going to be there with some arbs and some rams, and he's going to be making a push relatively soon. So things are not going to get easier for Lix. It's been a really tough game for him. He's been pressured a lot. Let's see if he can pull himself up.
Yeah, maybe, just maybe, if SY had some mobility to their composition with Yo, they could do something, but they don't. I mean, Tim's ideal position is to flank. He has the archers. He doesn't have to run a long way to help. Whereas Yo, he's taking such a long time to get there. And I think Lix is just going to die now. He's at 68 pop. He's going to lose his castle on the front. This is not looking good for him.
Lix is in a lot of trouble. We see a sustained reinforcement of knights from the purple player, Cavalier, that is, from CL.
Yep.
They are now joined by arbs, and those dang heavy camels, T90, those Indians camels are still roaming around in the back. This has given the green player, Jeffrey, some time to get a more sustained push going to try to push in on the red base, but it does not look like he's making nearly the progress he needs to, because there's a lot of purple and red inside of the blue base.
Yeah, if this was a 1v1, I'd say that Joffrey, he'd be a little bit behind, but he could come back. But this is a team game, obviously, and Vivi, just as you said, is holding Joffrey off, while at the same time applying a huge blow to Lix. And Lix is at 60 population. He will lose his castle now. He'll lose villagers. He'll lose Mangadai on the front. And it wouldn't surprise me to see the GG coming in shortly because of how much damage Lix has received. But then again, we are talking about two teams who, they really try every single game. They never call GGs early. And maybe Yo, with that ball of Arbalest, thinks that they have an opportunity to hold on.
Yeah, one thing that also hurts here for SY is that they just got their initial markets down to get some trade going, and there's already units inside of the trade.
Yep.
That's always a real deflating moment. But like you said, no GG yet. The green player Jeffrey is still here with the camels. He's still going to try to make some sort of a push on that side. Yo's got a couple of arbs there as well. I think if our red player Vivi can hold for a couple of minutes, there's just no possibility of coming back. That flank has to be lost in a titanic way for SY to win this game.
Yeah, Vivi, he did a great job holding, but he's lost his castles now, so there is that for Jeffrey. And Jeffrey's going to quick wall off as Vivi goes into raid, so he stops that. I mean, it's okay from him. Just keep looking back to this big ball of Cavalier and Arbalest from Tim and CL on the other side, Killer B. That's a lot to handle, and I don't think SY has a response at the moment.
Game one, man, hot and heavy. We're pretty lucky here with this first match. It's been a really good one. 45 minutes in, it does look like we are starting to see one team snowball with the big advantage, but there's still a little bit of life left, I suppose, in SY, or at least they believe so. Like we said, Rams coming in, a couple of Trebs pushing in on the blue player. He's in a lot of trouble. Maybe there's a ray of hope. His teammate in the green is trying to make some form of a push. It's Killer B and T90, man. Happy to have you guys with us. 3v3 ECL Africa stage. I suppose we are in the semifinals. Is that right, T90?
Yes, so we have a best-of-5 semifinal right now, and then there'll be another best-of-5 semifinal, and then a final. So we have a lot of Age of Empires 2 coming up.
Oh, it's going to be a good day. Yeah, there's just too much damage coming in here. We've got our purple player now, CL. He's just sending in light cav willy-nilly. He's putting them everywhere that they can be annoying to take down villagers. That sustained push from yellow that we expected, Tim's push, it's actually quite a lot of elite skirms now. Some Trebs, some Rams, a little bit of everything, even some Arbs on the map. Yeah, he's just steamrolling through Lix's base, and this feels like GG. I don't really see any hope.
Yeah, the score is quite deceiving, isn't it? Because there's only a 600 team score difference. So maybe they think that, I don't know, maybe SY thinks that one of the Frantic players has low population, or I'm not too sure. But they'll know soon enough, man. With the Cavalier and the Arbalest now pushing towards Yo, they'll know soon enough that they just have no response to any of this. The only way you could do this here, Killer B, is if you had Lix on maybe 3 castles, and you had some leftover resources to sling him to Mangadai, but they just don't have the time for that, and the GGs are called.
Yeah, a really well-played game there in game number 1. Frantic will grab the win when we see the last player, Jeffrey, give the GG. The game will be ended, and it will go 1-0 to Frantic. What are your final thoughts here, Mr. T90, on this game?
Final thoughts. Mongols did not perform well enough here. Lix, he had that early feudal age. He lost too many scouts, he didn't do enough damage, he was far too defensive, and because of that, he could never get to Mangadai because he never had momentum. Also, I think Mr. Yo being pocket as Ethiopians really hurt SY here. It could have easily been different where if they had Mongols as pocket and they had Ethiopians as flank, then the archers wouldn't have had such an issue with lack of mobility, and Mongols would have had more time.
Yeah, I think you're spot on there. I mean, both teams using some of the best civs that they have available to them in game number 1. The chips were on the table, and it looks like the pot will go to Team Frantic. It will be 1-0, guys, in this best of 5. And as we pull out of here, T90, I just want to ask the chat: am I still a little too quiet?
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up. So bear with us, guys, because I am normally not in control of the streaming program. So literally everything I normally have set up on my own streaming program when I stream on my channel was changed. So what I've done, Killer B, is I've lowered your voice, my desktop audio, and Well, it doesn't matter what I did. What I want to know from the viewers here is how's the game audio? Because people were saying that the game was possibly a bit too quiet. Is it boosted now? I'm toggling through TCs to give you some sound. Because if it is, it should be a bit better. Keep in mind that this is not fighting. We don't want the game sound to be too loud for you. Okay. I'm waiting for an admin's response. No offense, chat. Slightly too low. All right. So let me boost that a little bit. Different streamers have different preferences on this as well. Like when I stream on my stream, Killer B, I don't like to have the game sound too loud. Because in post-Imperial, it can be quite distracting sometimes. And you want more focus, or I want more focus on the voice anyway. I think this is as loud as I will put it. Killer B, can I get a testing 1, 2, 3?
Of course, yeah. Hey guys, it's Killer B. I'll hopefully try to talk about as loud as I do in game, but you know, I'm a little bit of a excitable guy, so sometimes I get a little louder. You'll have to let me know if I'm the right noise level, and thanks for your patience here. We're ready to get game number 2 going. Just getting the audio in order and getting everything correct.
Yeah, we're good. We're good. Perfect.
Sweet.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys. Let me just catch up on a couple messages here. Robo wants me to turn off the flags on the spec overlay. So you guys are going to get to see you guys are going to get to see me tackle yet another technical difficulty once we get to the game, but sure, I can try and do that. Game 2 will be coming up. We'll have the map Desert. Frantic gets that first win, which is oh so important. SY needs a response, Killer B. Good first game. Very close for a semifinal.
A very good first game. We started things off with a bang, and let's see if we can keep it going. SY needing to get back some momentum. The next match should be on Desert, if I have it written down here correctly. So I'm excited to see another pretty open, pretty crazy map.
All right. So we will have Frantic versus SY in this best of 5. Later on today, we will then have Secret versus AM, and then we will have the finals after that. I could be mistaken, because that's a lot of games, but I'm fairly sure that that is the case. I think Barbecue Turkman will be stopping by to co-cast with me later on. Killer B and I are going to rock it for now, and let's get into the game. And here we are. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Game 1. This is on Desert. This is between SY and Frantic. Really excited to be casting with Killer B. Killer B, I'm going to start off with Frantic yet again, the winners of Game 1, and then you can go to SY. Excuse me. All right. Actually, you know what, Killer B? Why don't you take it away? Let me clear my throat real quick.
Yeah, so it's set one of the day for us, guys. It's the semifinals. You can see that the score of Game 1 went to Frantic, and now we're here in Game 2 of this best of 5. I'll start off with the SY team. This is Killer B, and I'm here with T90. T90 is going to be rolling all day, so let's save a little bit of his voice power here, and I can introduce the SY crew. We are going to see SY Yo, Mr. Yo, the legend of SY, playing in the teal on the top of the map. He is going to be playing as the Britons, probably a good civ to have on that flank. In his pocket is going to be not Joffrey, but Jeffrey playing in the green. Jeffrey is playing as the Portuguese. And on the other side of the map, we will have Lix playing as the Berbers. And I can tell you right now, T90, it's not a super symmetrical civ generation on the map. We've got kind of one player, Yo, kind of out in left field on the top of the map, and his two other teammates much closer to each other. What do you see on the other side of the map for Frantic, my friend?
Well, we're just going to go right with Vivi here. Vivi was a big person to focus on in Game 1, and he always is. He is playing as Franks on the flank. Then the pocket is CL. CL is playing as Mayans. CL is known for playing as Mayans, getting those plumed archers out. And he's very dominant when he does. And then last but not least, we have Tim, who's Portuguese. So on the flanks, we will have Tim, team captain for Frantic, versus Yo, the team captain for SY. Portuguese versus Britons. I would give Britons the advantage there. Pockets, we have Portuguese for Jeffrey, and we have Mayans for CL, so there will be a difference there, because I think Portuguese will go scouts into knights, whereas Mayans will have to go for their archers. And then on the other side, we have Franks facing up against Berbers. So everyone knows that Frank and Berber knights are good, but I'd give Berbers a slight advantage there if they hold for a little while and get to the point where they can make camels.
Yeah, it's a very good analysis. I'm on board with you there. And just to note for people, I'm sure you've noticed as T90's been scrolling around the screen, but there's a bunch of gold in the middle of this map. So players have a lot of incentive to control the center of the map. And as the game gets late, if we do go late into this game like we did in game one, whoever can possess the middle with a, I don't know, maybe a more, an army that can not necessarily move quickly, but more stable army in the center could have a really nice time. Early on in the game, though, it's going to be an open map and it's going to be a mix-up sort of a fight. Can't wait to see it go down here with you, Mr. T90. This is going to be a good one. Who do you favor on this map type between SY and Frantic?
Well, player to focus on here is going to be CL. Whatever
Mm-hmm.
CL does changes this entire game. Because you have two options. You can go for archers from pocket, which is quite slow, as we pointed out last game when Yo was making archers. Or you could go for plumed archers, which takes a longer period of time. It leaves you vulnerable because you have to fast castle, and usually CL will wall. I think plumed archers, they have that mobility, unlike most archers. They also could possibly give this team the edge versus Britain archers, which Yo could go for. Plumed archers are amazing versus other archers with that higher pierce armor and that mobility I spoke of. So I guess it all really depends on how CL does here. What I expect Killer B is we will see CL full wall his base, as he often does. He will go for plumed archers. It'll take a lot of time. So in that amount of time, SY will have 3 people on the field with scouts and archers, and there will only be 2, and that will be the flanks for Frantic to defend.
Yeah, it's going to be a very interesting game. Both teams have some ability to use mobility and do damage, but both teams do have civs that can actually, grab and hold some territory, and that's going to be important as the game goes on. I think a big thing to keep our eye on, guys, although it's going to get hot and heavy here in a moment, is who can make the transition from I'm having a raiding army and a mobile army to I'm now starting to take over the most important parts of the map. Going to be very interesting to see these two teams basically shift gears, and they're two of the very best in the game. That's why they're here in the semifinal. I got to say, T90, I think Frantic, even winning game one aside, I think they've been playing really nicely in this 3v3 setting. So I'm really looking forward to what they can do here versus a great team in SY.
Yeah, it's always good to see as well, because Vivi recently joined Frantic, so you never knew just how the communication would be. But I think Frantic, they have had some of the best games in this tournament, regardless of if it was 3v3, 2v2, 1v1, 4v4. I'm a huge fan. I'm a huge Frantic fanboy, or a Fantic fanboy. Another thing to focus on here, Killer Beat, will be the communication between the players, because everyone has free Carto. So instead of just signaling an early game, they'll actually see what their opponent is doing at all times, because both teams have Portuguese, and that can be important.
Yeah, absolutely. Communication and vision is going to be huge here. Players are starting to hit the feudal age. Notably, our player in blue, Lix, is going for a stable. Our player in green, who is the pocket on that side, Jeffrey, is going for a stable. And the teal player, Mr. Yo, playing as the Britons, is going for a range. So we'll see, again, double stables and one range coming down, similar to last game. But obviously now the arrangement of the civs is very different. Yo is now on a flank instead of a pocket.
Yeah, and this is exactly what I expected here. We have 3 people for SY going for feudal age pressure, whereas we only have 2 for Frantic, and it is just scouts for Vivi on the right and scouts for Tim on the left. CL is hanging out here, and he's on stone already, and he's hoping to eventually get the plumes. This is a really hard window to survive in Killer B, because it'll take so much time for CL to get any type of units on the field. So I really think Vivi and Tim need to be safe, because they're going to be outnumbered, so they need to make sure that they don't take losses, maybe that they get the walls up earlier. If they overinvest, they'll quickly find that there will be 3 people at their base, and they'll have no way of defending.
Maybe I'm being tricked because I'm not nearly the level of these players, but by the looks of it, if you look at SY's side, they're team walling the blue and green base, and they are building mobile units on that side. Yo is building archers on the other side. It is not inconceivable that they could push 3v1 on Yo's side. Once you're walled in, once you deal with the initial push of the scouts from Vivi, you're probably going to have 2 armies there that are not needed back at home, not needed so much to defend. It could get really, really interesting in Tim's base, but we'll see. For now, it is the red player, Vivi, inside of that team wall, trying to do some damage.
Hey, he's done a heck of a job here. He noticed that the walls were going up early. He killed 1 villager, and it was fantastic micro to do that. And he was close to getting 2 more, so now he will probably run around to get as much value and distract out of these scouts as he can. But I like that from Vivi. You know, just as I had said he shouldn't overinvest into attack, he should play passively and defensively. He went forward, and he was rewarded for it.
Yeah, he got in just in
Oh, there's
time.
a whole Killer Bee on the left.
Oh, show me where. Where are you at?
On the left at Tim's base, there's a hole. Man, so Tim loses a villager, and now his cute little walls here don't protect his berries, don't protect his lumberjacks. That's his only... No, I'm sorry, that's one of his 2 lumber camps. And he's forced to fight this, but he's not comfortable doing so because he's 2v1'd.
Yikes, there's always a hole in the wall. In the meantime, we are seeing Vivi kind of slowing down his momentum and damage. He's done a great job to keep at least 1 or 2, well, 1.5 armies busy on that side. But Yo is starting to get an army forward. However, Tim is not taking this lying down. He's got quite a lot of scouts of his own and a couple of skirms out on the field. So it does look like this game is going to be just fine. And I got to say, I think what Vivi did to get him through those walls helped his team immensely. If he doesn't get in, there's 3 armies that don't have to defend against those scouts that could be already forward. And it's taken a little momentum from SY.
I couldn't agree more, man. Just look at the blue scouts from Licks. Have they run forward at all? No, they've been running around in their own base, trying to clean up the units that Joffrey couldn't deal with. Just exceptional job from Vivi. He's the real MVP of this game so far. And we are about to see the double now at CL's base. And this is just as CL is going to hit Castle Age. So can they weather the storm here? Tim is coming to survive, to help CL survive. CL will build a castle in a moment's time. I'm liking this for Frantic. I think that Tim is doing just enough to give his ally some time.
It's going to be a very interesting match. Before we roll forward, guys, I just want to mention T90 and I are saying Vivi because that's the name that we know Really Diao as the most. Really Diao goes by a couple of names, including Vivi, Fat Dragon. So for those people in the chat who are a little confused, Vivi playing in the red here is Really Diao. Sorry about that.
Yeah, and he's done a crazy job. He arrives then to help, and now this will be a better castle than CL's original plan, which I think would have been back next to his TC. So build the castle on the hill. Still, that's a bit risky. Like, you never know what's going to show up. But if he gets it there, he'll be happy with things. And Vivi now in the red is on his way to Castle Age. He will have Frank Knights. I think yet another strong game, another strong start for the Frantic team.
Yeah, double stables coming down for Tim. Double stables coming down for Vivi in the red. Those 2 flanks will be building, knights in this case. And in the center, like you predicted, the Mines player will be able to get out some plumes. They are obviously a very quick archer unit. And that castle position, as you mentioned, is really nice. And it still kind of sticks out like a sore thumb to me that there's a team wall for 2 out of the 3 SY players. But Yo, it just feels like he's over here on an island. He can certainly handle his own, but it feels a little awkward on that side of the map.
Yeah, there was probably a conversation that went something like, hey, Yo, you want to be part of our team wall? It's like, no, I got this, man. I got this.
Come at me, bro. Yeah.
I mean, obviously, you know, they can't team wall at the moment or at all because of Yo's position, as you pointed out in the early game, Killer Bee. I think corners are going to be so important when the trade will come up, and we'll definitely get to that stage as both teams are even adding stone walls now. So they could still trade at that northern corner to the east corner, but there's a large opening there. And with plumed archers running around, it's not going to be easy. This has been... I'm actually quite impressed. I thought for sure that with players of SY's quality, they would do more versus Frantic. But Frantic has done a heck of a job here. Credit to Vivian, credit to Tim, to get CL in this position. Already on a few TCs, 3 TCs, and making plumes.
Yeah, they've been playing their faces off. I mean, we're going to see triple stable knights coming out right away from Vivi, so he's going to continue to be very aggressive. He was aggressive in early feudal. It paid dividends for his team. He's going to be aggressive again in early castle, heading forward toward that team wall to see if he can find a way inside and trying to do a little harassment. In the meantime, our purple player, CL, is starting to push out and take over a little bit of map. And Tim, I just noticed, is slinging a little resource toward Vivi to keep those triple stable knights going. So that team seems to be invested. Yeah, they're invested, man. They're ready to go.
Feudal Age Sling. I was thinking that we might see Sling from Portuguese because Portuguese will really struggle with transitions past Castle Age. We did not see that from SY. You see Jeffrey's making knights as he's being pressured. But nice strategy. And it's, you know what, it's paying off here. The Sling is paying off. For those that don't know, Sling is when you send resources to an ally, and I think it has paid off here because Vivi and CL, they're denying this TC that Jeffrey was trying to build in the center, and all of those villagers will die, and there's so much gold in the center. Vivi has a TC going up now, CL has already had a TC there to secure it. Cool strategy. We'll see how this pays off. Can you talk a little bit about why the Sling is strong, Killer B, and can you talk about why the Sling can also be seen as a risk long term?
Well, it's always nice to give resource to somebody who has a high-tech unit. For instance, a Franks player building knights can do a lot with that resource, so it can be very powerful, especially early on in the castle age like this, when resources are a little harder to come by. You can see that that's paying dividends because Frantic already has 2 TCs near the center of the map, and they've already done a little bit of damage in slowing down to Jeffrey. But like you said, it is a double-edged sword because our player in yellow, Tim, who is sending those resources, is going to could be a little exposed. He's mostly stonewalled at home. He's not getting pressured, but he's not going to have a lot of resource for an army of his own. And obviously 3 armies can be a little more fun than 2 from time to time.
Yeah. Well, it has worked, but it is still 2v3 at the moment. Vivi perhaps scared of the fact that Yo has so many of those Britain crossbows. He's actually placing a siege workshop on the front, which I find interesting. That's a lot of knights, man, and it's not so much about killing your opponent when you're receiving Sling. It's about taking good advantages, and this is really the map for it. When there's so much gold in the center, getting control of that and holding that for a while means that you can get away with not having an ally for a little bit. Big fight, Killer B. We have crossbows now from Mr. Yo. We have the knights from Lix. And then we have the knights from Vivi and the plumed archers from CL. This is so close. It's hard for me to tell who's winning this fight at the moment. It seems like SY is actually pushing this back with the cheap Berber Knights.
Yeah, but there's a Mangonel on 70% inside of that siege workshop, so keep an eye for a bada boom. It could happen any moment.
Well, it should happen. He should eject to the left-hand side. There we go. But Yo's micro. Exceptional split. 2 of them, in fact. And then the teamwork from Jeffrey to go there and pick that off. What a play from Mr. Yo.
Very nice timing from Yo to basically be ready at the right moment for those units for that Mangonel to come out. For now, his crossbows are basically going to leave without too much damage, maybe a little splash damage. Hot and heavy fight still there in the center, but it does look like Frantic is, well, they're on the clock right now. They're a little bit understaffed, and they need to go back, I think, and look for a better fight.
I mean, just exceptional play from Yo yet again. 33 kills and 9 deaths. Microing down the plumed archers now. They'll gain this hill, and we have a market now from Vivi, knowing that perhaps needs to buy some more resources or something. The score could not be closer at the moment, and that's not what Frantic needed. Because again, they only have 2 out on the field, and the 2 is not enough as it seems. I'm just impressed with Mr. Yo, but as I say that, he gets hit again. Couldn't micro away from that one. Still a strong position for them, though, as they'll kill that siege workshop.
Yeah, it just turned out that the 3 armies versus 2 were a little bit stronger and a little better timed. We do still see a lot of plumes on the map, though, for CL. He's doing a good job to get a new castle up, which is pretty much smack dab in the center of the map.
Yes.
So that will be an interesting and important part of the map for them to hold. Still a lot of knights from Vivi. It wasn't a home run for them, but I think there's still a good ray of hope for them to take some map control over. Notably, T90, Tim is still slinging. He's committed to that, sending really everything he's got to his teammates and sticking in the feudal age.
He's slinging CL now, and that's why CL is advancing to the Imperial Age. So I think now it's very important that CL and Vivi, purple and red player, they keep their numbers alive, because they will have access to more tech soon. Even CL will have access to another castle soon. But if they don't have the numbers to upgrade, then it's just kind of a waste. Whereas if you're in SY's shoes, where we have teal, gray, and blue, you need to take fights now, and that's exactly what they're doing, Killer B.
Yeah, they're ready to rock and roll. They're coming in toward Vivi's base, really downplaying in the red, getting pressured by 2 armies now, possibly a third to come. We've got a Mangonel in play as well for Jeffrey. A bunch of crossbows sitting here from Mr. Yo, those Britain's crossbows with the extra range in the castle age. However, we'll see another castle coming down for purple. The TC probably won't be very nice in that position, but once the castle is up, maybe it can stand.
Yeah, I have to say that fight was quite weird from Jeffrey here. I think his patrol bugged or something, but a lot of his units weren't attacking. And if you're just comparing military numbers, Frantic's not too far behind, and they will soon have CL in the Imperial Age on 3 castles to make plumes. So this is This is where they need somebody, and I think SY, they need Mr. Yo, and Mr. Yo is now on the way to imp himself, so maybe, just maybe with the extra Britain range, he can hold off those plumes.
Yeah, Mr. Yo on the way up, still pumping out crossbows as fast as he can. We'll see if he can get those up to Arb and use that extra range like you mentioned. For now, though, the script seems to be flipping a little bit. We've got our purple and red player kind of joining forces, plumes and knight on that side. CL's Imperial Age comes in right now, and we should expect to see more text coming his direction. Very interesting game as the players start to fight for the center of the map. Who do you give the advantage to here, T90?
I like Frantic's position. I really like Frantic's position. Kind of weird to see Lix overextend yet again here on the right. He went for a siege workshop. Just don't see how that's ever going to work when your opponent has stables right there and can create knights. It's all down to if the plumes get upgrades, and those upgrades are coming in now. We have Bracer on the Plumed Archers, Chemistry's on the way, and this is where it's tough for Lix, it's tough for Joffrey, because they're forced to create more units and Castellates to just hold this, and wow, what a fight, Killer Bee, what a fight here.
Yeah, absolutely. Both teams with a little tiny hill to fight from, and both teams seem to be a little bit committed to going at it. However, blue player Lix is peeling his knights and camels off to target a Mangonel, and while he's away, the army of Yo kind of gets pushed off of that hill, and it looks like the SY team is going back.
SY's in big trouble now. Yo has yet to get his Imperial Age upgrades, and he's losing numbers, and CL knows, let's just run underneath this TC. Let's kill as much as possible before he upgrades them. This could honestly be the game right here. If they wipe up this whole army, if they kill these TCs, it could be the game. That sling is just so strong.
Yeah, a lead plumed archer is in. The numbers for those units is about 40. That's a pretty scary unit to have breathing down your neck. And of course, Arb comes in for Yo, but Yo's got 35 total military. A lot of it is on the left side of the map. Not a lot, but maybe half of it is on that left side, trying to push in on Tim's base, but Tim is holding the line for now with some stone walls. So the center of the map is really the key right now, and it does seem like Frantic has some momentum there. We're going to need to see some really nice maneuvering from SY, particularly Mr. Yo, for the next couple minutes in order to bring this game back for his team.
Yeah, it's all on Yo for now. Maybe Lix will have the time. Lix yet again with very low population, just like game one, so I don't know if he can help. Elite Plumed Archer now for CL, full upgrades on these, and it's tough for Yo. He might have the range, but the Plumed Archers have the speed, so they can get much closer, and we could see a castle denied here if Purple sees it. He'll probably go up unless he has amazing reaction time. He's going for the army. Tyler, it's a cool move for Yo to try and kill the guy who's in Feudal Age. It's a cool move, but the Plumed Archers can easily get there to stop that.
Yeah, exactly, and those plumes are circling around, and this is a really nice play from CL, because if you're me, you say, oh no, the sling is getting punished, I'm running straight over there. He actually did a little flyby and damaged Mr. Yo and knocked his army down a little bit, and there won't be any reinforcements because his plumes are coming exactly where the reinforcements would be walking. In the meantime, we've got Vivi with some Frank Knights there, and it doesn't even matter, the plumes haven't even arrived, and it's already GG. Really masterful play there from Frantic,
yeah.
Mr. T90.
What a strategy. What a strategy. Tim and Vivi and Feudal Age just held and bought CL time. Then Tim said, I'm not making military. I'm going to pass these resources along to my allies. And it worked. It really, really worked. And I think that Sling is such a situational strategy because it is a risk. You can see Tim has just lost his only TC. But on a map like this, it's almost perfect because there's so much gold in the center. So you can take advantage of that power spike, take the gold, and then your opponents will have nothing to fight with.
Yeah, very nice game there. We are going to see a pretty commanding, a pretty scary lead from the Frantic team. We'll have to see if the legendary SY crew can come back from this one. I suppose the next game will be on Sahara, and I suppose we might see the Mayans put into action for the SY crew. But I suppose we'll find out in just a moment. Great match. Any final thoughts there, Mr. T90?
Game one, SY, they went head-to-head with Frantic. They were toe-to-toe. It was close, but they just got beat with similar strategies. Game two, SY got out-strategized by Frantic. Frantic played incredibly well. There are the achievements for you guys. I know it's a little bit zoomed in. My apologies for that. You can see the KD for Yo was strong. But look at the KD for CL, 83 kills and 16 deaths. That's ridiculous. It's so rare to see a kill-death ratio like that in Age of Empires 2.
Yeah, and I'm sure there are some people here for the first time watching these matches, or people who haven't played the game for a while. You guys got to see a really dynamic match there. You saw basically a player going for a fast castle drop, and then you saw the other guy who went to feudal, sticking and slinging. We saw a lot of fun there, and hopefully we didn't lose you too much with the terminology. I hope you're having fun out there. It's Killer B and T90 kicking off the day here. ECL Africa 3v3 semifinals. I am hyped over here, T90. I'm hyped.
I am too, man. It should be starting shortly. For those that are, oh, I'm sorry. That's my bad. I'm not normally in control of things here. I have to avoid using my number pad. Oh God, did I break something, Robo? I mean, we'll be in the game in a second. I'm not sure what just happened, but anyway, if you're new to Age of Empires 2, thank you guys for being here. Hope you guys are enjoying the games. We're gonna get into another one here. And, oh, God. So, yeah, this is a problem. Sorry, Killer B.
No worries, man. You can work on the problems, and I'll just chat with people. I assume
I mean,
you're not ready to start the game yet, so
all I did was press a button. I pressed the number 1. I pressed the number 1, and now we have this over the screen. So I'm not sure how to fix this. 1 second.
Yeah. Bear with us, everybody.
I think we got it. Removes the scoreboard, though. Yeah, so I'm going to have to reach out to my admin here. Robo, for some reason, whatever's attached to the scoreboard is now attached to stats of some kind. So maybe if you want to add... what? Yeah, we're having problems. We got some cool stats, though. These stats are fantastic. These are some amazing stats. So just look at that for a second.
The stats, they statistically, they speak for themselves.
They do, yes.
Thanks for hanging with us, guys. Our head honcho, Mr. Zach, Mr. Zero Empires, is off for the day, so we're trying to fill in. T90, you're doing a great job here, man. You're not only the best looking caster in Age of Empires, but probably the hardest working. I mean, arguably, there's a couple of big time guys there, man. But I'm really appreciating your content, and it looks like the stats are now off the screen. You guys can see Sahara will be the next map. It's a best of 5, and it could be Frantic taking the cake here with a surprise, at least to me, 3-0 victory. However, we'll see what SY can do in just a moment.
Okay, it should be fixed. So what I need from Robo, I need you to relaunch the game for us, and we'll be good. I think it's fine. I have an emote for all my subs out there. It's that fine meme where it's totally not fine. The world is burning down around you, but you say it's fine. Killer B is doing a great job of keeping me calm here.
Oh man. So we're going back here? Are we?
Yeah, we're gonna have to go back. Okay. It's I have to not press numbers apparently. So
yeah, guys, it's this you have to keep in mind. This is quite an old game that has been modded very masterfully by a lot of hard work, a lot of people over the years. And it's working great for us. We've got a great set of new civs. We still have incredible. This game might have, oh man, I don't want to overstate things. We might have the best pro players in the game, just the coolest set of guys. I had a pleasure to meet some of them recently. And oh man, these guys are so cool. Can't wait to see another match. We're going to restart right here, right now. Thanks for your patience. Let's get ready for game 3.
Well, in game 3, SY needs a result, man. SY needs a result. If they don't get a result here, they're obviously out of the semifinal. I mean, still good to get there and get some points later on for the standings, but you want to be in the final. You want to be facing the best of the best. And here we are in game. Fingers crossed, everything's good. We are good. All right, so Killer B, I am going to introduce the Frantic team, and then I'll lead you over to SY, okay?
Wonderful.
All right, so first of all, this map is Sahara, so it's another map where there's a lot of central focus, another map where it's very open, very aggressive, and we have Spanish for Vivi. So again, really Dial is known as Vivi in the community. He's playing as Spanish on the flank for his team, and the pocket in the magenta, we have CL. CL is playing as the Malians, which is a fantastic pocket civilization. And then we have Tim. Tim is playing as the Britons on the flank. I like the civ positions for Frantic. Tell us about SY, Killer B.
Yeah, so to keep things flowing in the same counterclockwise direction, I suppose, it will be Jeffrey in the green playing as the Franks, not Joffrey, Don't get it twisted. So it'll be Franks versus Britons on that flank. In the pocket, way back in the pocket, is going to be Lix playing as the Spanish. So we'll see a Spanish pocket there. Spanish, always an interesting civ to see what they're going to do from the pocket. They have a great unique unit, but they can also do a lot with cavalry. We'll keep an eye on the blue player Lix as the game goes on. And in the teal, the legendary Mr. Yo playing as the Mayans. We did see SY save the Mayans. You could say save the Mayans for this map. They are an extremely powerful civ, extremely scary civ. Let's see how they do on the flank here versus Vivi's Spanish. T90, the first question in my mind is, what do you expect from Vivi or really Diao in the red here in this game?
So for those that don't know Vivi, he's known for his crazy strategies and his ballsy strategies, and he's really going to need some big balls in this game because Spanish up against Mayans is not great. Oftentimes you like to go for conquistadors if you're on the flank here, but to get there is so tough against a strong archer civilization. So I don't know what to expect. He will need to buy himself a lot of time here, and maybe he'll go for towers or something, Killer B. It's kind of tough to pull that off, of course, when it's a team game. We'll find out soon enough, I guess.
Yeah, I'm really interested. That's why I was asking you, because it's a bit of a conundrum. It's a Gordian knot, and we'll see how he unties it there. In the red trunks is Vivi, a player who is, in my opinion, the MVP of this series so far. He's played his absolute face-off, but of course he's joined by a couple of great teammates, and they're taking on a great set of players in SY. Anybody could take this one. Let's see, guys. It's an elimination game, technically. It's game point if you think about it. This one's going to be hot and heavy in a moment. It's Killer B and T90. Escape, Champions League, Africa stage, 3v3 action coming your way. The map is Sahara.
Malian pocket then for Frantic. CL performed incredibly well last game as Mayan's pocket. So he will likely start off with scouts here in Feudal Age, work his way to knights and camels. And then we have Lix as the SY pocket. So big difference is that we have one Spanish flank, one Spanish pocket. When you have a Spanish pocket, you can go with scouts into knights, and it's just much easier for you because you're not as close to the action. For those who are new to Age of Empires 2, when we say pocket, we're talking about the player in the central position, and then the flanks are on the sides. So, you know, another awkward thing we could see is Tim. Tim is Britons versus Franks. If Britons don't get that big ball of archers, then Franks can overrun them. But, of course, if they do get the big ball of archers, Britons can overrun Franks. So that's also a thing to think about as this game goes on.
Yeah, absolutely. And while you're giving this analysis, I'm watching the teal player, Mr. Yo, using that Eagle Scout to full effectiveness, stealing one of his opponent's boars. So the red player here, Vivi, is -1 boar, and Mr. Yo, of course, will have 3. Yo's going to have a drush as well, T90. I like that a lot in this situation. I don't know. How do you feel about a drush here from the Mayans player?
Well, this is interesting. So he stole a boar. Looks like 2 boar carcasses underneath his TC. Yeah, I guess he took the other one. Ah, there we go, yeah. Okay, so he steals a boar from his opponent, which means that Vivi won't have a fast feudal time because Vivi will be lacking the food. And already you see the massive walls coming up from him. Drush is an interesting strategy here because that means Yo might go for a few militia to delay Vivi even more, and then go straight to Castle Age if he can for plumes.
Very interesting to see what happens next. Mr. Yo rolling in with that drush. We'll find Wolf. We'll keep an eye on that set of units as they roll forward. In the meantime, I don't see too much action elsewhere. I see Feudal Age coming for Tim, for Jeffrey, and for CL. So we'll expect those guys to be doing some action, doing some work in the Feudal Age. I'm seeing a lot of walls coming down from Lix. Lix right now looks to be walling everything up and moving over even to a little bit of gold. So keep an eye on Lix's build here as we go forward.
It's pretty much a team wall, right? They're excluding Joffrey, of course, or Jeffrey, but it's kind of a team wall. And, oh, Yo has gotten in here, forcing some quick walls now. Vivi needs to protect his villagers, or otherwise he'll lose some. And Yo's attempting to block this Vill with his eagle. So I think the villager will probably make it back to the TC here. You know, this is quite a different strategy than I expected. Lix in the blue is going for fast castle straight to knights. And then we have Drush to Castle Age for Yo, and the only player fighting in Feudal Age really will be Jeffrey, who's scouts on the right, so he could be overwhelmed potentially by purple and yellow.
Yeah, it's going to be a very interesting game. There is a little bit of team wall action coming as well for the Frantic side. We also see a stable coming. So CL is going to drop down a stable. He's going to drop down some walls, and he and his teammate, after this drush is cleaned up, could be somewhat safe. We are seeing Yo get cleaned up, but of course that army wasn't really meant to last forever. Good to put it into use and do a little annoyance. For now, Mr. Yo, behind his walls, has a couple villagers moving over to stone, already on gold. So keep an eye on him. He should be in a great position to probably drop a castle early on in his castle age. Lix is on the way up as well. Our blue player is on stone also. So we could see some castle conquistador play from the blue player Lix. So very interesting game from SY, but not surprising, T90, right? This is relatively by the book, I would say, right?
I'd say Conquistadors is a bit surprising because typically you'd want the ranged units on the flank, which would be plumes here in this case, right? And then you'd want melee with it. So you see a lot of knights and archers or knights and conquistadors combined. But what SY is going for is double ranged units on the flank. But then again, of course, you do have the conquistadors from Lix, which could accompany the melee from Joffrey. But Joffrey, for now, is going to be 2v1 the land. He's trying to wall up massively now. He needs to because we have archers from Tim incoming, and we have scouts from CL incoming. I'm interested to see how the Conquistadors play out with the plumes on the left for SY. We're still a few minutes away from that, of course, because they have to reach Castle Age, but I think it could possibly be awkward.
Yeah, it could be because I'm seeing a lot of walls coming up for the Frantic team. We'll keep an eye on that. As you said, that yellow army from Tim starting to roll in. It's a couple of spears and a couple of archers heading into the back of Jeffrey's economy. Frank's player has to abandon a wood line and actually has to abandon a mill as well. So losing a little bit of eco time there and a little uncomfortable situation for Green. His scouts are on the other side of the map and they aren't really doing any damage there yet.
I think it's oddly greedy for a team that was ahead in the early game to not take advantage of that situation and simply full wall up. That's what SY have done here, and now this is not the first time that Jeffrey has been caught hung out here to dry. I apologize. Yeah. I have a bug in my throat, so if this happens today, there's always an ongoing joke that I'm always sick, so maybe I'm sick again, I don't know. But we'll carry on, Killer B. We will carry on.
You are sick, but I mean that in a good way. You're sick with it, man. I am seeing a couple of snuck scouts in from Jeffrey. No, just let it pass.
Let it happen. Yep.
I'm seeing Jeffrey sneaking some units into the back of Purple's base, but in the meantime, there's 2 armies in his base. So can those 3 scouts from Jeffrey do any damage? Survey says, well, probably not, but we'll keep an eye on them as they roam around inside the team wall. Very interesting game. The feudal armies are busy. But what is going on with our player in blue? Well, Lix has hit the castle age and his villagers are moving over right now to drop down a castle, and he will start to get conch production going.
This is really just a disastrous start for Joffrey. He's lost a few villagers. He doesn't have his gold, which is out on the hill. It's not good. And meanwhile, Vivi, he'll be in castle age as well. He is Stonewall, so he'll probably go for conquistadors. And, okay, here we go. This is good for Jeffrey. He's getting a Vil pick inside CL's base, but CL will add knights and camels when he reaches that next stage. I feel like there's potential for both teams here to do damage. Finally, though, Joffrey's finding something just to make up for his losses earlier.
Yep, finally getting a little bit of blood on his opponent's map, but we do see a couple of archers, just 2 archers from Mr. Tim, rather, not Mr. Yo, but Tim in the yellow, sitting on the green wood line of Joffrey, and look at the idle Vils and annoyed Vils. As you said, not Joffrey, but Jeffrey is in a lot of trouble here early on in this game.
Yeah, I've been saying a little bit of both. I apologize. I'm genuinely trying to just say one, but I've been saying both, so it is what it is. I'm sure you guys know who we're talking about. What a play there from Tim to get in here, to delay that wood line, to delay the berries, to delay these, just everything. He's done such a good job. And Tim's going to have a strong follow-up in Castle Age with archers. His pocket will have knights and camels. And then the other flank will have conquistadors.
Yeah, and those first couple conquistadors, there's a hole in the wall for Mr. Jeffrey, and unfortunately for him, I don't exactly see where it is, but those conchs are running straight into his base, so that's a little annoying. Oh, those are
his ally conchs, so I think that's fine.
I was like, oh my god, how did they get in? Those conks coming over.
They ran right through the gate. The gate opened for them.
Really weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
It must be a bug.
Yeah, well, it happens. It happens. Those mistakes are made. Okay. Luckily, we only have 6,000 people here watching, so it's not like anyone's judging Killer B. Okay, just keep that in mind.
Yeah, no pressure, right? No pressure.
No pressure at all. But that's exactly what Jeffrey needed. He needed some help.
Mm-hmm. And now he's cleaned up.
Yeah, these conquistadors, I think they're going to struggle, though. Like, again, if there were knights for Licks, I like it. But look at the massive crossbows Tim is going to have. He can focus down those conks. And I think Vivi will have his own conquistadors on the other side. There will be knights and camels from purple. This is a close game. This is a game where I'd say SY has a slight lead because they hit the castle age first with their two strongest players, Licks and Yo. But I feel like Frantic have done a good job to hang on here despite all their struggles at the start.
Yeah, it's a really interesting game because you got full stone walls for purple and for red, and you got foot archers from Tim, and none of those situations are very good if you have conquistadors. So let's see if those conks can get anything done. We'll keep an eye on them as they roll across the map. For now, they can punish areas like where they're headed right now for our purple player CL, where he doesn't have too much space between his walls and his villagers. They can obviously shoot over the walls and hit the vills and do a little bit of annoyance on that side. But T90, for the most part, these guys are starting to wall up and get things in order. It looks like we're going to see a long game in Imperial Age. Who do you give the Imperial Age advantage to between these two sets of civs?
Well, this is real interesting. So I missed this, just now realizing that Jeffrey, because of his slow start, decided to full-on sling Mr. Yo. So just like Frantic did in the previous game, we're seeing a sling, which means Jeffrey will not fight. And he's sending resources to Yo, and that's why Yo is now halfway to the Imperial Age. So you asked me who I think will have the advantage in Imp. Well, Yo's going to have quite a head start. Doesn't have a lot of economy behind this, which is the weak point of it. But if he can get enough upgrades on his plumed archers, he could really hold this for a while. And I really can't call it right now. I really can't call it. I think that that's what we need to focus on, though, because Mr. Yo he's going to be the one really driving it home for his team.
Yeah, and there are full stone walls, as you guys would note, around purple and red, but conquistadors can actually knock down stone walls at a decent clip. They'll eventually push their way in. And as you said, those plumed archers in the Imperial Age could be rather annoying, so keep an eye on how good that push is from conks and plumes in the center of the map. For now, Tim has been left unbothered. Jeffrey continues to sling. Tim is in the Castle Age. He seems to be playing this one more straight up. And he's got to get out with his army and get something done after a little booming because, well, his flank on that side is getting away with a wall up and sling at the moment.
Yeah, CL needs to gate this off. That's a nice little gate because you can build it from the end there. But this stone wall's almost down. The gate's only at 100 HP, so CL needs to get a couple more hits. Wait for an ally to come help. And there's a few more hits. This is all precious time he's buying himself. And Mr. Yo's forward with another castle, Killer B. So a castle right in front of Vivi. Vivi, interestingly enough, never built his own castle. He's just been booming up. He has the most villagers in the game, but he has no response to this. This is going to be fun to watch.
This is not something you see all the time in such a high-stakes game. This is a pretty ballsy castle. It's coming up right in front of your opponent's base, but why not? You know you've got them in a corner. You know you've got them in a pickle. Why not add insult to injury here with another castle? It's going to go up for Yo. It's a little bit of a dicey call, a little bit of a risky call, but it looks like it's going to work. The Conquistadors, by the way, T90, they're pulling back for the moment. They're going to leave now that some monks are on the field. But yeah, Mr. Yo is going to show up, and he's going to be here to stay with a couple of trebs even.
Luckily, Vivi has a civ that builds buildings faster because he's going to be rebuilding TCs pretty soon. The first trebuchet's out for Yo. Yo has the best form of military in the game at the moment because of all the upgrades he has on the plumes. I'm liking the strategy from SY, but you know what the one real weak point is? Is that Jeffrey's getting pushed on the other side by Tim. So Lix needs to arrive, and Lix is here, Killer B. And this is going to be a close fight, but I like Lix's arrival. He's taking some good engagements.
Yeah, he's standing and fighting with those foot archers from Tim. Tim has spread his army really pretty thin. He's got a couple units here and there attacking wood lines, and because of that, the conks in their mass can do a pretty nice job to clean up this major group of crossbows.
What a hold. That's all they needed to do, because Yo is obviously going to win on his side. They just needed to make sure that Jeffrey would not die, And Jeffrey's not going to die at this rate because Tim just lost his entire army. And now look at Vivi's base. Vivi's getting fortified wall. He's trying to wall up. There's a few gaps he needs to plug here. This is just disastrous for the Frantic team.
But I gotta say, this is what I'm cheering for if I'm looking for a long and interesting series. Of course, we want to see SY take this game so that they're not eliminated, so we can see another match, guys. It's a best of 5. It is the Africa 3v3 stage of the tournament. We're in the semifinals, and we've got, well, the 2 best Chinese teams in the game going at it, Frantic versus SY. Right now, it's looking like SY is going to take this game over. Like you said, those Conquistadors coming back and keeping Jeffrey's hopes afloat should solidify a good chance to win this game, but it is still, the onus is still on Yo to push in and keep his momentum going. Here come his Plumes, T90. They're walking right into Vivi, or really Diao's base.
Yeah, and oh, Vivi, you know, he market walls here. All Vivi needs to do is he needs to buy his teammates time. And look at this. He's running away with all of his villagers. This is disastrous for him, but his ally is halfway to the Imperial Age. And his ally has more eco than Mr. Yo. So it's possible that if CL gets the Cavalier, he can hold this. It's still also possible that Tim could potentially push Joffrey on the other side, and he's doing that now. So I don't necessarily think this is over. It's up to Mr. Yo to continue to push for his team. And it's up to Vivi to stall things out here, to delay Yo as long as possible so his allies can do damage elsewhere.
That is the beauty of this game. You can be the very best player in this game, and you are still going to have to play epic defense from time to time. No matter how good you are, you're going to have to hold sometimes 2v1, sometimes versus a slinging player. This is a good moment. What's on your mind, T9?
Well, Vivi is like trying to run. He's like, Tim, where do I go? Tim, where do I go? There's a Conquistador there. Is he going to convert the Conquistador? That would be hilarious. He just needs to keep his vills alive because he's currently less dead than the green player. Imperial Age will hit for CL here as Yo builds a forward castle right next to CL's castle, and he's starting to tread that down.
Yeah, very interesting game. There's a lot going on here, a lot of chaos being sown at the moment. We will see Tim continuing to try to push on Jeffrey's base, but more Conquistadors will come over from the blue player Lix to help clean this up once again. We have seen Vivi in the red running across the map to just survive somewhere, and we do see Yo continuing to drop down castles. Yo's now up near 80 villagers, so he can sustain a pretty scary push, and I am noticing a barracks and a monastery coming for him, so it may be a little bit more of a balanced push for him, especially he needs to be ready for Cavalier, which will be in soon for the purple player CL.
Yeah, I think now Yo has more economy of his own. He has 80 villagers. Now Lix has more economy. So while they were relying on the sling for a while, they can now rely on their own economies. I think we'll probably see maybe some halves and some monks to accompany these plumes. And I think the biggest thing is that Lix will have his own Cavalier funded by his own eco, as I've already said. And once Cavalier completes, I think Tim on the right will struggle to push Jeffrey. I think that Vivi will struggle to survive with all the villagers he has in the center. And really well executed from SY. Certainly not over yet, because there's a big ball of CL Cavalier. But if Lix can get involved here, then it's a very good sign for them.
Yeah, Lix is just starting to send the Cavalier over, but they're already showing up. Here comes Purple, here comes CL, coming down the hill to take on the Trebs, to take on the Plumes. He's coming with some Rams as well, so that castle from Yo will go down, and it does look like this position will be held for now, but there aren't very many dead Plumes after this fight, T90. They're microing back nicely and not taking that much damage.
Yeah, I still really like what CL has done here. He went for capped Ram, he's killing some Vills, he's killed the castle, killed some Trebs. But as you said, it is going to be difficult now to sustain production, to keep up with 2 while he is on his own here. We now see that Vivi is sending resources to CL, so CL will hopefully be able to get his upgrades. He's building a castle now. That Farimba upgrade would be incredibly important for him, but he needs the castle for it. CL struggling to hold on, but there's potential, man. There's potential. If maybe Tim can land a blow, if Tim can get to the Imperial Age, it's possible for Frantic that they can take this.
Yeah, Tim right now is, well, he's starting to build out pikes. He's got a lot of gold in the bank, not a whole lot of food, but if he can get up, like you said, he can help his team a lot. CL is again here to push against these plumes. He's got a couple of rams to go along with it. He wants to win down that next castle from Yo, but it is going to be really tricky because here's those Cavalier that you spoke of from the blue player.
Yeah, just not quite enough there from CL, and Lix is getting Paladin, so already Lix and Yo doing a good job on this side. It'll be even better for the SY team because Paladin will be completed, and this is where you start to think, is there a chance for Frantic? Because Tim is not on the way to Imp yet, CL's on his own, Vivi's not fighting. It's gonna be tough, but there we go. Tim clicks up to the Imperial Age, so maybe, just maybe, Killer B, they'll be able to do something.
It's kind of interesting. I'm watching the center of the map. There's just a mass exodus of villagers from the player CL, just walking, running the old naked bootleg across the map. No army there to defend them. They're going to drop a castle right on Jeffrey's front gold, and maybe they'll get it done. What a weird moment.
That's such a CL castle, man. If Blue had one single Cavalier there, he could deny everything. But, you know, CL just doesn't care. And Jeffrey's in feudal age. He sees someone building a castle, and he's trying to delay this and wait for his ally to arrive. That's hilarious, man.
Yeah, very weird moment, but you got to take big risks when you're falling behind like this, so why not go for it, right?
Yeah, and he needs safe gold, of course. He's lost out on a lot of gold in his base, and he's about to lose a lot of eco because Yo and Lix are arriving. I'm looking at the number difference here, Killer B, and it's just so great. There's so many Paladins and so many plumes from SY. I don't think CL has the numbers.
Yeah, I don't think so either. SY looks to be on their way to take the match here and continue this series into a game 4, but the game won't be over until one team decides to give up the ghost and give the GG. If you guys are here for the first time today, thanks for being here with us. It's T90, he's the other guy, and I'm Killer B. We're having a great time casting some matches of Age of Empires 2. Hopefully you know that this game is alive and well. These pro players are the best in the business, some of the best. And right now, those Paladin T90 knocking on the door of a TC now from CL. It's looking pretty GG to me.
Well, what's interesting here is that Jeffrey could be defeated. He's at 30 population. Vivi's at 65. So, population-wise, it's actually even. It's just that the population for SY is much stronger because they have Paladins and Plumes. So maybe with the Farimba upgrade, as Vivi repairs his ally's castle on the front, just maybe with some numbers, with one engagement, they can hold this Frantic, but they haven't had an opportunity to fight the Paladins or the Plumes yet, and they're taking so many losses economically.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I did not notice how badly Jeffrey has been suffering. He's on 29 vills. He's trying to rebuild his economy in the back corner of the map. So he is effectively taken out of the game even as a slinger. He is on the way to Castle Age, but of course it will be a long time before he's a major factor, I think, in the Castle Age.
Yep.
We still see those Paladins and Plumes inside of Purple's base, but CL has decided to keep on sending villagers forward, and now some heavy camels, and he's trying to make a push right straight into Lix's base. Very interesting match, T90. Very interesting game we got here.
Yeah, I just wonder if Tim is going to struggle now. Just so interesting. They started with Vivi, they went through CL, and now they're going to Tim's base. This army has been just passing through. Tim, he sent a lot of units forward. I think he might have sent too many units forward to Jeffrey, honestly. Maybe he could have used some units to help his allies, because Jeffrey's not contributing anything as is. Still a struggle for CL, even though that main group went to his allies' base. He's struggling with another group of Plumes and Paladins. Lix and Yo just playing out of their minds at the moment.
Yeah, and they need to. I mean, this was the game they needed to step up and try to turn the tide. They had a good Civ arrangement. They had no excuses to not win this one. I think they've done a nice job to put it in a position to win. Of course, the game is not over yet, but it's looking really good for them. By the way, CL's push up near the blue base from Lix is now cleaned up. Those heavy camels and trebs were cleaned up by Paladin mostly on that side and a couple of Plumes. So there's not a lot of momentum right now for Frantic, but they're still in the game. No, there's the GG. They're ready to call it.
right after Lix got hit, right after Tim got hit, you could see the populations plummet. Yo and Lix are either at 200 pop or very close. Really well played. Really nice strategy from SY. That's a result you want to see if you're an Age of Empires fan, because we want to see as many games as possible today, especially you and I as casters, right? We want to get as much action as we can. Just thinking back to how all this happened, I think it was just the early recognition from SY to realize that Sling was the way to go. Because without Sling, I was not confident, but Jeffrey, he started sending resources to Yo, and Mr. Yo didn't make many mistakes this game. Lix did not make many mistakes this game. Look at the KD, Tyler. 231 kills for Yo, 51 deaths, and then 186 for Lix, 63 deaths. Again, crazy kill-death ratios with the Sling.
Yeah, absolutely. That KD is out of this world. Hard to imagine losing a game with that KD. And of course, SY didn't lose the game because they, as you said, they slung. They had a very nice tech advantage, and they utilized that tech advantage to push on their opponents and grab a win here. A much needed win, as it was an elimination game. Very, very nice match, and it felt like a chess game almost, T90, the way that the teams were basically trying to synergize their strategies, and I just think, like you said, SY had the better synergy. Their strategy kind of made more sense. It was timed perfectly. They grabbed the win.
All right, so we are going to get into Game 4 soon. The next game coming up is going to be on Rift Island, which is a brand new map. Many of you have seen it a few times, but it's not one we've seen too frequently in the Age of Empires 2 community. I'm just going to take this moment to thank you all for being here. I think the channel has Twitch front page at the moment. We have a lot of people who are new to the Age of Empires community. So first and foremost, if you're interested, follow the Escape stream so you can stay tuned with this event. Also, if you like the wonderful voice of Killer B or the average voice of myself, you can type !casters, and our Twitch links are there. We both cast Age of Empires on our own channels and do our own events. And Tyler, it's been a lot of fun casting with you today, man.
Yeah, man, this is really great. And guys, like T90 said, if you're here for the first time, you're seeing the semifinals of a major tournament. One team is going to punch their ticket to the next stage, and then we are going to actually see arguably two of the very best teams in the game in the other semifinal. So it's all murderers in these last couple of semifinals and in the finals. And it's all happening today here on Escape. I hope you're enjoying yourselves. And thank you all for being here. Have some fun. I'm ready for game number 4, but T90, are you ready? That's the question I have.
We're going to take a 2-minute break so we can get everything set up and prepared. So in about 2 minutes, guys, we will start game 4, a game that SY needs to win. All right. Thank you guys for waiting. You needed a quick water break. There's going to be a lot of games today. So Tyler, are you there?
Yep, I'm here. I'm just going to need another moment.
Okay,
Quick.
that's cool. So I'll just take a moment to talk to the chat. What's up, everybody? Can somebody throw me a salute? Just one person. What's up? Welcome, me, Giant, Lightly, Elite Kamiuk. Good to have you guys here. As we've said many, many times today, we have Frantic and SY currently. We will have Secret versus AM after this best of 5, and then we will have the winners of both series in the final. I'm really excited. There we go. What's up, guys? Well, welcome. Thank you for being here today. It's a pleasure to see so many faces that I see on almost a regular basis nowadays, casting Age of Empires 2. Also a pleasure to see all the new faces supporting this amazing game. So I'm going to tell you a little story, a little T90 story time here for a moment. I met Killer B in Germany last year, and prior to meeting him, I was thinking, man, his personality is so radio-like. It has to be a persona when he casts, right? I'm like, this has to be him only when he streams. And then I met him in real life. He's the exact same guy. He's like, has this radio, like, smooth jazz voice persona. It was interesting, Killer B. I wasn't expecting that to be, I guess, 100% of your personality.
Yeah, I remember talking to Dave for the first time when we were off stream, and he was like, "That's just your voice, huh? Like,
yeah,
you're not doing like a radio voice? Like, no, man, that's my voice."
Yeah.
That was a great time when we got to meet up. Oh man,
seriously,
what an amazing time.
So much has changed. I remember that was prior to me going full time in Age of Empires, and you and I were talking about that, and we didn't know what the future would hold for the game and ourselves, right? Here we are. So it was a good time. Are you good to go, by the way?
Let me check real quick. I think I've got this all in order, but I got to make sure.
That's fine.
Let's see if I have it correct. It is a little bit of a... alas.
That's fine. Don't worry about it. I can entertain. I'll try not to tell too many stories and bore people here. Rift Island is a really cool map. It's quite hard to explain, though, before we get in. So once we get into the game, I can explain it to all the viewers here. By far the best casting voice. Start the casters debate, please. Oh, no. Please don't. We don't need that. I think we're in a unique position with this community. We have a lot of different individuals, both different voices, different personalities. Just how it works.
Yeah, and of course, I do have the game going now, but of course I want to say thanks to everybody out in the community, keeping this game alive and well. It's the best time to be watching and playing Age of Empires, so I hope you new viewers are considering jumping in and playing this game. It's a whole lot of fun. It's like chess on steroids with a Red Bull coursing through your veins. I'm ready, T90, when you are. So you just say the word, and I'll click go.
Okay, so I'm actually in the game, paused at 0 seconds, and then we could start at the same time.
Wonderful. Yep.
And just you can give me a countdown, 3, 2, 1, week and 14, and we will have Rift Island between Frantic and SY, starting off game number 4.
All right, let's do it. Let's do it in 3, 2, 1, and go.
Perfect.
Hey guys, it's Killer B and T90. We got the Escape Africa stage. We are watching the 3v3 action. It is going to be the SY team taking on Frantic. It's Killer B and T90. Take it away, my friend. What are you seeing here right off the bat on Rift Islands?
Well, I'm going to introduce Frantic first, as we have been doing, and then we can talk about this crazy, crazy map. For Frantic, we have Tim as the flank. He's playing as the Italians here in the yellow. His pocket is CL. CL has been using the hacks to get pocket position, apparently. Everybody has shared positions for the SY team, but then we have CL. He's just getting pocket all the time. He might not be complaining. He's Byzantines. And we have Vivi, or really DL. He's Mongol's flank. A civ that can be so good on this map, Tyler. What do we have for SY?
On the SY side of things, we got Vikings for Mr. Yo in the teal. Mr. Yo, sitting on the Vikings, is obviously an important civ on a map with so much water. In the blue, we will have Lix. Lix is playing in the pocket, and Jeffrey will be on the other flank, playing in the green as the Italians. And Mr. T90, I'm going to duck out real quick and restart my version, so I'll leave it to you here for a moment.
Yeah, that's cool. So we have Italians for both. We have Byzantines for both, and then the one big difference is Vikings and Mongols. Vikings, as Killer B said, very strong civilization. Whoa, my game's getting all fast here. A very strong civilization when water's involved, but it can be iffy at times because on a map like this, it's not just full water. There is the land element. There are zebras to take control of in the middle to eat up and get fast food income. Mongols can take advantage of that. Vikings can't. It's a tough map, and I think perhaps we're going to see the strategy come to fruition soon. If Mr. Yo chose Vikings, he might go for full water while the others go land or something. Italians, of course, strong water civ, so there's always that option for any Italians player. Byzantines even, they have their fire ships, which is cool. So while we wait for Killer B to return, I'll point out just some other things about the map. You can dock on the outer edges and take control of fishing there. You can also send your navy inland here. So I don't know what to call this terrain. I'll call it quicksand. This quicksand ships can go over. So if you get enough navy, if you get enough longboats or fires, whatever, you can actually control this center area. Players will likely go for fish control, and players could also run to the middle if they would like and take advantage of the free food out here. But they will leave themselves exposed, of course. I think I was told that this game had a drop, so there's actually 2 parts to this, so this is expected. I just wasn't sure if this was the time it was supposed to happen. Maybe that was the case. I'll get word from my admin here in a second. Unfortunately, all these games are played within the course of a week or two, and we compile them and we then cast them on one single day, so you guys don't miss out on action. I'm going to assume that we'll just resume from part 2 next, because this unfortunately had dropped off for the players, and there's no way to fix that. Let me just speak to Robo real quick. Might be a complication with the recorded game. Yeah, because I thought the first part was supposed to be longer than this. I'm going to go back. Let me speak to my admin for a moment, guys. I apologize. I'm not normally in control of this. So since Zach is gone, I've been handed the controls, and all this stuff is very different for me. So this is not a normal role for me. This is a test of my skills, I guess. So we're going to get an answer to this, and we'll continue this game. So let's go back to the wait screen. I'm going to play some waiting music here, and we'll get the game underway here in a moment. Okay, so Tyler, are you there, by the way? I think you had the same issue I did.
Yep, I'm here as well.
Did you run it on the... Did you not run it on the alpha version of user patch?
Yeah, I was running it on the wrong version, so I restarted, and I'm trying to get it going properly now.
That's fine.
My apologies, guys, for this. We're just figuring it all out here today. It's always a little tricky to get everything perfectly in order, so yeah, hang with us. We're about to launch into game number 4.
So I'm going to go back to the point where we dropped off at. I think that's the best move. And it was just simply we had a wrong patch enabled, I guess. So you guys might hear a little bit of game sounds behind the scenes. This is a 20-year-old game, so when things happen, it can be a little bit awkward. But I'm going to go to about the 5-minute mark, Tyler, and then we can resume from there. So I would fast forward to there if you can. My game isn't actually letting me go like too fast, so we'll wait. We'll work it out.
All right. Yeah, I'll keep working on this side of things and trying to get everything in order. And yeah, if I'm not there with you in just a moment, then I'll catch up. We'll get it going one way or another. Don't want to keep everybody waiting for too long. But yeah, thanks again, guys, for being here. It's going to be a nice fourth game, a potential elimination game. So hang with us, and hopefully we get this going in just a moment.
Yeah, we should be good. At least we're good on my end. We'll just have to wait a second or two, and we'll be back in the game. So, man, Age of Empires recently has just been fantastic. For those that didn't see the Hidden Cup on my stream last weekend, it was wild. Hit about 6,000 viewers on that day. I believe today Escape has Twitch front page, so we're getting some new viewers. Or I don't know exactly where we're at because I don't have an alert on my other monitor, but I've been hearing some good things in the chat. Robo says wrong, Wolo Kingdoms version. I don't have the wrong Wolo Kingdoms version. I don't know. This honestly put a lot of stress on me that I did not expect today. I thought it'd be like plug and play. I didn't. All these overlays are very new to me. I'm doing my best. I have no clue. Yeah. Okay, so we'll go back to the music, I guess. Well, let me speak to Robo about this. We'll sort it out, and the show will continue. I can only apologize again. This is not my normal role. I was trying to be helpful, and yeah, it's just difficult. So we'll be back in a few minutes, guys. My apologies again. All right, guys, thanks for your patience. So there's been some technical difficulties. I'm going to cut the music here, and I think I will be in the game. And apparently not. Apparently not. Oh, man, this is a bummer. We'll sort it. I'm getting all these instructions behind the scenes. Let's see. So there's apparently a special folder I need to get into. So I'm not going to have any music playing because I have to run this through like a single player mode, apparently. For that reason, you'll have like the traditional Age of Empires sounds and the menu sounds. So you guys are going to have to listen to my voice as we do this. I think I've said this before already, but I think we'll be good here in a second. Let's see. It's fine, guys. It's fine. This is totally fine. Good game so far today. You know, I was a little bit surprised in game 1 that SY couldn't play a little bit stronger. But I think since then they've sorted it out. They obviously got the victory last game. Well, we should find out soon enough. So Tyler, I'm getting the instruction that we need to have it in like Wololo Kingdoms 5.7.4. So it's a special Wololo Kingdoms. I'm running this through single player then to watch the recorded game, and I think I've just found the trick here. Did you follow the same steps, or will you need a moment? Because I'm gonna test it here. Yeah, so in a Voobly game room, if you click game at the top left and click start at single player menu, click that when you're on Wololo Kingdoms patch 5.7.4 and do not have the recorded game selected. So then, and I'm doing this as we speak, then once it's launched, I know the stream can't hear you at the moment because I have the background audio muted. It should work. I'm going to find out here in a moment. Who wins, SY or Frantic? Well, Fulu, we're going to find out, man. We're going to find out soon enough. Okay, so I think I found the trick. Yes, okay, so I made it into the game, Tyler. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to speed up, and I'm going to get to the point where I was before. Worst case scenario, I could always cast this solo, but if you did what I said there, it should be good. Okay. Okay, that's fine. So we're going to get into the game now. I apologize for the delay, my friends, but we're in the game. This is around the point where we had dropped off initially. So we're back and we should be good. Now, just to give you guys a warning, the game like crashed apparently. So there's going to be quite a large portion of this game, and then there will be a pause, and then what we'll do is we'll load up the second portion of it. So I think we finally figured it out. So can we get some Craigasms and PogChamps in the chat, please? Because that was a journey. That was a journey. Goodness gracious. Okay, so we're back in the game. So as a quick refresher, we have Yo, Vikings flank for his team. The pocket then is Lix, Byzantine's pocket. We have Joffrey, who's Italian's flank. Vivi, he's about to click up for Frantic. He's playing as Mongol, so he could take advantage of the faster hunting time, faster hunting speed. He's already on water on the right, so he could either go for water or for land. His pocket is CL. CL is already walling up a little bit and is also docked as Byzantines. And then we have Tim. Tim's dock position is really peculiar for me, or it could just be awesome depending on what his strat is. He is flank Italians.
Yeah, T90, I'm with you here, man.
Okay.
I'm happy to have figured it all out, passed the old IQ test. What is your exact time right now?
So I'm going to pause at 7:25, and then we can run from there, and we should be good.
Don't even pause. Yeah, just keep going. I'm right at 7:25 with you. So
okay, cool.
Perfect. Interesting to see Mongols on this map this time around, guys. The map is Rift Islands. What we've seen in some of the games in the past is that teams will team wall up and then really go hard on water. We kind of see the underdog teams in a couple situations trying to do something on land. But I'm interested to see the Mongols on the map here for Vivi. What do you think about Mongols here?
Well, we saw Mongols lose for SY before, if you remember, in game 1. So if you like Mongols, you could see that as kind of a waste. I like Mongols if you can take advantage of the early window you get here, because there's quite a big time difference to Feudal Age. Vivi is sending some villagers to gold, so it seems like he'll collect as much food as possible in the middle with the zebra hunt, and then he'll mix in a fire galley or two to kill his opponent's fish, And that's going to put pressure on Jeffrey, who has fishing ships right around the bend here.
Yeah, such a ridiculous amount of zebra in the middle of the map, so the Mongols will be absolutely OP with their faster gathering from wild game. However, I think we will see a lot of action on the water from all teams involved. We can see docks on the map already. 2 docks for SY on the left side. That's Lix and Yo docking on the left. Up in the north, we've got Jeffrey as the Italians docking kind of in the back right corner of the map. So kind of two navies on one side, one on the other, at least for the early game here. Interestingly, Frantic kind of just docked in their own base areas. So, for instance, the purple player CL, he's really right in the back center of the map. So it will be a long time for him to reinforce the Navy on the left or the right side.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of strategies which buy allies time, and I think that's exactly what we're seeing here from the Frantic players. We have Vivi, so he's pressuring already. You'll see the fire galley looping around. He'll try and pressure the fish from Joffrey. And then we have Tim on the left. Tim, he'll be going with fires, and he will pressure the fish from Yo and from Lix. And meanwhile, his ally, CL, is just booming up. Say fish boom in the back. He will probably go towards the Castle H. I like this strategy. And with Byzantines, Tyler, we might even see something like a 1TC Imperial from him.
Yeah, that could be really interesting. Byzantines is not a civ that I really expected too much, but we are in a 5-game series now, potentially, at least a best of 5. So you got to use all the civs that you can, and like you said, they go to imp cheaper, so they could be really useful in this scenario. Notably, the Italians for both sides makes a lot of sense because there's water. Italians are really, really good on water with cheaper dock techs. And yeah, we're going to see this game start to get hot and heavy. For now, it will be our yellow player, Tim, probably fighting 2v1 on the left side, but for now he's gone past the defending ships and he's going straight for the fish boom in the back, trying to kill a couple of Yo's fishing ships.
Yeah, I think he killed one of Yo's fishing ships. He killed one of Lix's fishing ships. Meanwhile, Vivi on the other side killed one of Jeffrey's fishing ships. So I think the strategy is working so far. All eyes on CL and what he will be going for, of course, when he gets to Castle Agent, if he gets there, as he's kind of lacking the food at the moment. On land, Tyler, no action, besides the fact that Vivi, okay, he's adding a few scouts, and he's collecting all of that deer. Or zebras, sorry. Sorry to any zebras we have watching. You're not deer. You're zebras. It's different.
Yeah, you're confirmed racist, I believe.
Yeah.
Saying that all 4-legged animals are the same. Well, okay, let's make a note as well that, interestingly, really Diao, or Vivi, went horse collar and dropped a couple farms, even though he possesses a ton of zebra in the middle of the map. So he's prepared to potentially get pushed off of the center at some point. But I thought that was rather weird to see horse collars so early. Other than that, not too much weird going on. I'm just seeing fire ships sparring on all sides and players trying to diminish the fishing economy of their opponents.
Well, I think Vivi expects to lose water because he is behind now, so probably a good thought from him, actually. And Vivi's scout could kill a villager here. Is that one weak female villager, and she's dead. So nice job from Vivi to see these walling villagers and try and deny the wall off. In fact, he could continue to do this. Look at him distract that spear. He's sending in his own spear, another scout. I think he'll get at least one more Vil pick. I really like Vivi's strategy here. Aggressive start for the Fat Dragon.
Yeah, Vivi's looking really good. Obviously, the Italians player has a lot of advantages on water. So Vivi trying to keep the fight on the land, trying to keep his opponent's walls open. And for now, he's stopped Jeffrey from finishing the walls on that side. This is the hot corner of the map, but Jeffrey is going to re-wall. He's going to basically give up on that initial wall, lose a couple of Vils, but stop the bleeding, at least for now.
And some huge plays on water. That demo on the left-hand side from Lix, I believe that connected with 4 fires. Still, that's not going to be enough as Tim pushes in. He will kill more fishing ships, probably all the fishing ships from Lix, and he won't stop here, Killer Bee. He'll go right through to Yo's fishing. And Yo, he's about to reach Castle Age. He can't afford to lose his fish. He doesn't have any food income beyond those fishing ships. I really wonder what Yo's strategy will be in the next stage, because for now it just seems like he wants to add town centers and he has no way of defending himself on water.
Yeah, and CL is on the way to Castle Age with a huge fish boom going in the back of the map. He's been a no-show militarily early in this game, so he's been able to boom up. Byzantine player, like you said, could go to imp rather quickly, especially with so much food. T90, give me a quick time check. Where are you sitting on time right now?
I'm at 17:10 at the moment, Tyler. 17:10.
We are
CL
perfect.
has so many resources. He's adding TCs. And you know what he's going to do? He's going to take advantage of the Byzantine fires.
Okay. Yeah, he's adding town centers down now. We're seeing the War Galley upgrade come in, and we will see CL step into this game. CL seems to be really comfortable in the pocket in the sets of games that I've been watching.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see what he can do here as Frantic tries to punch their ticket to the finals if they can win this game.
Man, such a commanding lead now for SY. Everything going right. Vivi, commanding lead on land. He'll be in Castle Age. Vivi just now losing his fish, by the way. So he lived with them for quite a while. Tim killing 2 players on water. That was insane. That's only going to get better for Frantic if CL mixes in fires, and it looks like he's going to the right-hand side to help Vivi. Castle Age for Vivi. Castle Age for CL. Tim probably will click up here in a moment. And SY, they need a bunch of responses here. They can't just have one good engagement. They need a few to get back into this.
If you're going to punch your ticket to the finals of a big tournament like this, do it in style. And right now, it looks like Frantic could do it in style. We'll see. The red player, Vivi or really Diao, continues to take those zebra in the middle of the map, which is so beautiful as a Mongols player with that gather bonus. He's getting so much eco out of that. But we are starting to see some longboats on the map for Mr. Yo. He's trying to be a big factor there while he can. Tim is still on the way up to Castle Age. Lix is still on the way up to Castle Age. But Yo right now is trying to make a little damage with those longboats.
Yeah, and typical Vivi move, forward siege workshop, almost got denied because Yo had the longboats there. Still could be denied because Jeffrey's building a tower now. Let's see if this siege workshop goes up for Vivi. I have a feeling it will. Yes, it will. So he was looking to pressure on land, a player who's really far behind. Jeffrey is behind on water. He's now behind in any type of land control, but it's on Mr. Yo now, I think, Tyler, to use these longboats, use the power of the Vikings to bring his team back into this.
Yeah, and he's going to get a little boost. I saw at least a little bit of sling coming over from Lix. Lix is on the way to Castle Age, but I think he sent a little resource to help Yo get his numbers up a bit. Longboats, guys, with 7 range can do a lot of harassment, not just on the water, but on land. Can sail in. You can see some of this land that is brown is actually saleable, so you can get out into the map a little bit more and try to damage your opponent's eco. So keep an eye on that. Pocket on the other side, CL just now starting to get forward with fire ships. They're starting to mass up a little. He's looking to make his impact on the game. T90, CL has 25 fishing ships.
It's crazy.
Just a ridiculous fish boom.
Yeah, it just makes you think, was it smart to have Lix and Yo in the same spot where they lost their fish entirely in one swing? I don't think so. Strong strategy choices from Frantic. Yo has been bringing this back slightly for his team, but he needs to be careful here because Tim is now in Castle Age. And that demo raft from Tim, you wouldn't have expected him to send that out, but it worked out. And he's also going to transport, so we have a transport from Tim. So he might even go on land. This is going to be real interesting.
You can never pigeonhole Tim. He's not just going to do one thing in a game. This game, he's really being very diverse. Here come 4 villagers onto that transport. By the way, T90, Vivi, really Diao in the red, is pushing in now. He's got a ram, a knight, a mangonel, and a couple of scouts, and he's starting to get a little bit closer to Lix's base, so we could see more damage landed there. Frantic says they're in a 400-point score advantage. It feels like they're really starting to snowball their lead and get a little bit out of control here.
Oh God, but Vivi's all-you-can-eat buffet in the center is being raided. Oh my goodness. I bet you he didn't expect the longboats to be here when he saw the open sign. Goodness. Losing so many villagers. He'll probably lose all of them because I don't see how he can truly escape here. Still, as a team though, things are looking good because CL is about to reach the Imperial Age and CL will go Cavalier. What a play from Yo though to at least hold on for his team. He's also micring on that left-hand side.
Yeah, Tim has landed in the meantime, and he's dropping down a couple of stables. Italian's player wants to get some knights going into the teal base of Yo. Yo does not have a land-based army to fight that, but he does have all those longboats, like you said, that are doing some really interesting work, knocking down villagers. Knights coming forward as well for purple. Very, very crazy game here in game number 4, but like we said before, it's an elimination game. It's a best of 5, so if Frantic can win here, they can punch their ticket. And they're doing everything they can to get that done right now as the Knights from Tim just arrive into Yo's woodline. and Yo is probably a bit annoyed by this.
Oh, he's definitely annoyed by this. He's building a university and a siege workshop because he's receiving Sling now from his ally in green. Sling so he can get to the Imperial Age, but if he doesn't get the buildings up, if he loses his villagers, he just won't have enough. And a panic castle now on his gold. This is all falling apart for him. And you know what? He has to be real careful. I think his gold villagers could open the gate here. Yes! And the knight goes right through. So the knight now finds another area to raid, and this is all before CL arrives with Cavalier, man.
Yeah, the SY team is asking a lot of their best player, Yo. They're asking him to micro longboats in the center of the map. He has actually stopped Vivi's push there, mostly with longboats.
Yeah.
He's microed very beautifully, but he's also got a micro back at home to keep his villagers safe. He's being landed. It's a really crazy game for Yo, but who better for SY to put the pressure onto, because he is their best player by far.
Yeah, definitely, and we saw the importance of Vikings once the longboats came out, so right away they realized they need to pressure him. I'm just watching now, where will CL go, because he's at 120 population, he has Cavalier, he also has Fast Fires. I think he needs to continue to push towards Yo, and oh my god, look at Yo's imp TC, look at the TC he chose, and look what's next to it, Cavalier.
Boy. Yeah,
oh boy.
This is an unusual imp TC, it's the forwardmost TC for Yo. It is 40% of the way done, but it could, in theory, be under some pressure here. Very interesting choice. And it looks like we have reached the pause in this game, right?
Correct, yeah. So this was expected. I was told by the admins ahead of time that there would be a drop of some sorts. So it was not a rage quit. It's not over. What we have to do now, and Tyler, I believe we can just go to the top right and go to load. We'll load part number 2. This is always risky because there could be potential spoilers, but now that we're doing it this way, yep, should be fine. And we'll go right back into the game. So, 3, 2, 1.
Give me just a moment, sorry.
It's fine.
I went the long way around.
Oh, gotcha. That's fine.
I went back out, but I'm back in again. So
this will give me some time to talk about this. It's kind of funny because Yo probably didn't want to choose this TC because he saw the Rams from Tim. So he had 2 other choices. And these players move really fast, so he goes, okay, let's just choose another one and we'll be fine. I think he still might be fine because it's only 5 Cavalier, but that could easily snowball quickly for CL. CL will probably mix in some Siege soon as well. If SY ends up making it back into this game, it's probably because Vivi really just fell apart. He lost villagers in the center. He went for this weird Siege monk push as Mongols, which is not the norm. So he definitely bailed Jeffrey out a little bit because Jeffrey could have been under more pressure. Those two are actually quite even, but it's just that Yo is behind CL in a big way, and Tim, he has a crazy push coming in. I just wonder if maybe Lix will have to send support with some camels, or what he can do is he's only in Castle Age.
Yeah, it's a very interesting game so far. I think SY needs to get some good things done in the next few moments. I would recommend T90 that you go ahead and launch, and I'll catch you in just a second here.
Okay, that's fine. So the game resumes. And TC is being attacked by Cavalier. And I doubt that CL expects that this is the MTC. There's no real way of knowing. If he knew, he'd probably commit, but he instead will go after this dock, I guess, as he sees that as more of a threat. So Yo might hit the Imperial Age, however, he's kind of surrounded on land and on water. And now Plate Barding's on the way for CL, and oh boy, he's going back to the TC. I think the TC, it's gonna die. I think he's gonna lose his MTC, Yo. We're at 81%, 82%, 83%. He needs to distract the Cavalier. It's all on Lix's Maganel and female villager. Oh, Yo is repairing it. So now CL must know what's going on here. 92, 93, 94%. It's definitely GG if he doesn't get this. And 97, 98, 99. He's going to get it. He gets it. The repairs were enough. Wow. So that delay with the villager and the Maganel, the few repairs means Yo gets to the Imperial Age. How close was that? Goodness gracious. What can Yo do with Imp now? That for sure would have been the game if he wouldn't have got there. He's still behind though. Imperial Age technology can give him access to more upgrades for his longboats. Something like Trebuchets, which he's going for, but that's not a real force to push back with. And CL taking down this house, building a forward siege workshop. He's looking to make Yo... He's looking to punish Yo for his lack of military. We have camels from Lix. Byzantine camels are good. There's a lot of them, too. And we have some monks. So with some conversions and some camel engagements, maybe there's a chance. But wow, we have CL getting Paladin now. This is just insanity. Byzantine Paladins are some of the worst Paladins in the game, but Paladin in itself is still one of the strongest units. I just don't see how they can respond to these Cavalier at the moment. You need walls, and that's exactly what Yo has done. And perhaps CL should go for Capped Ram, which he's researching. Possibly a forward castle, and oh, okay. Those walls were deleted. As Lix tells Yo he wants to take the fight, and hey, he gets conversion. I wonder if Byzantines will just drop off here going Paladin after a while. Surely they will. But then you're going to have Vivi making Mangadai. And we know how strong Mangadai can be. Vivi's on the way to the Imperial Age now. Quite a big difference here, but SY does not want to give this up, obviously. Then they lose the semi-final. They have faith in their abilities. They have faith in their captain, Mr. Yo. And I've yet to really see what Yo is doing with his imp upgrade. He didn't get any Imperial Age upgrades, just has been booming still, I guess. Maybe he could go into those Zerks, guys. Make the Berserks that everyone loves. Okay, Paladin's about to complete. And you know what? A lot of these Cavaliers were not fighting. So they gave Blue some free hits. Blue also has the hill advantage. Also, there's about 5 conversions. Now Paladin completes. And still, Paladins should be enough. The Trebs will go down. More villagers will go down for Yo. Joffrey's on the way to Imp. Lix is on the way to Imp. But Yo is just falling apart. This seems so good for the Frantic team. SY is frantically garrisoning into town centers. Trying to look for a way to deal with this. And we even have some sling now. Tim is sending some resources. And maybe that's what he has been doing after that initial push to CL. In fact, I'm fairly sure that there's no way CL would have got Paladin without some sling. Said earlier, Vivi was the MVP for Frantic, but this is the 4th game now, and I think CL has really been the key. When he gets pocket, he's one of the very best. He's shown me that today. And he's just delaying Lix now. Yo still can't push out. Yo is losing villagers. What's the play going to be for Jeffrey on the other side? He seems interested in going back on water, actually. Will make life complicated because we have Vivi on the way in through this wall potentially, and it doesn't matter. Vivi won't petard bust through. He doesn't even need it, and the GG in the end is called. So, yeah, there was that drop right before that Imp TC barely took Yo to the Imperial Age, but the GG comes in anyway. What a play, man. What a play. The strategy differences were pretty obvious to us early on. We had one person Fast Castle Fish Boom. The other Byzantines player went for Feudal Age water pressure, and they lost water to Tim. So on one hand, Tim did incredibly well because Tim beat 2 people on water. Then you had Vivi winning on water in the early stages, which was great. And then CL just had a free boom. He had all the time in the world. And I don't think he'll be complaining. I don't think he'll be complaining. The way his teammates played put him in such a good position, Killer B.
It was a great game, T90. I had some issues on my side, but hearing you call that moment where Yo was trying to get Imp and that TC was, is it going to go up? Is it going to drop? That was beautiful, man. Great casting there. And as you said, maybe CL is the MVP. And what that means is that, well, if you're the MVP, it usually means your team won. So Frantic there taking the series 3-1, punching their tickets to the final. And we'll have to see who's going to join them in a minute, guys. We have Aftermath and Secret in the other semi. Am I correct on that, T90? That's
yeah, man.
Amazing.
It sounds too good to be true, but it is true. We will have Secret and AM in the other semifinal. That will be coming up next. Again, it is a best of 5. And the winner of that best of 5 will face Frantic in the final, which will also be casted today. I'll be casting the next best of 5 with Killer B again, right? Think so.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I'll be doing the final with Barbecue Turkman, who you guys may have heard last week. So
Yeah,
we're going to take a
absolutely.
short break. Tyler and I casted a lot of games here. You guys probably need to get some refreshments and snacks, whatever, as well. So we're going to take a 10-minute break so we can get our affairs in order and get the game started. And I'll see you guys in a bit.